Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story, University of Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan has cost himself $40,000 for criticizing the officiating in the Utes' loss to BYU. Harlan made his way to the post-game microphone after BYU was given new life by a controversial holding call late in the fourth quarter.
We won this game. Someone else stole it from us.
Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark has since said, quote, "There is a right way and a wrong way to voice concerns. Unfortunately, Mark chose the wrong way." Harlan has since responded saying, quote, "There are more appropriate times and avenues to express those concerns, and I accept the consequences of my decision." A woman is in police custody after she crashed her car into a home yesterday. The 27-year-old is accused of driving while impaired, losing control, and crashing into the home that had people inside. Police say no one was hurt, but the home has extensive damage. It's just one of the 9 DUI arrests the department has made in the past week. Our top national story now from ABC News. California firefighters continue to battle the mountain fire that started almost a week ago.
The mountain fire scorching more than 30 square miles west of Los Angeles since Wednesday. The fire's rapid spread fueled by what was the strongest Santa Ana wind event of the year, destroying more than 130 structures. Plant roots still burning underground, posing a threat.
That's ABC's Morgan Norwood. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 429 right now. That's 1%. We're at 44,417. Coming up today will be the warm before the storm. We'll be up in the 60s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02. Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Life can feel hard or overwhelming sometimes, but you don't have to face things alone. Getting help for yourself or someone you're worried about starts with a call or text to 988, where you always have someone to talk to, someone to help you, and somewhere safe to go. 988-UTAH is here for anyone experiencing mental health challenges or emotional distress. 988-UTAH can even help you navigate how to support your struggling loved ones. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, trained professionals are ready to listen and provide free, confidential support 24/7. Utah, don't hesitate to call or text 988 for you or someone you care about. The caring staff at 988-UTAH can connect you to the right resources. Learn more at 988.utah.gov.
Get up to a 30% upfront bonus to use for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year to help grow your retirement income. Whether you're in retirement or will be retiring within 10 years, Trajan Wealth can offer some of the highest guarantees in the business. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know no one wants to work forever. We all need to retire someday, and I know you've worked hard for your money, so now is the time to guarantee it. Take advantage of up to a 30% upfront bonus for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. Get up to a 30% bonus just for opening an account, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Retire the right way, the Trajan way, with Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states says Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Attention Utah professionals. Join us at the Utah Business Forward event on November 20th, 2024 at the Grand America Hotel. Learn from successful Utah leaders, including Kurt Doman of Progressive Leasing and U of U women's basketball coach Lynn Roberts. Dive into breakout sessions on entrepreneurship, people and culture, acquisitions, AI, brand marketing, and strategic leadership. Don't miss this opportunity to connect and grow. Visit forward.utahbusiness.com to register today.
We have emergency traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. What's going on, Heather?
Well, this is on the east side belt. All traffic has been stopped right now, northbound, just after you pass 6200 south. And it looks like there's an accident a little further up the road just before you get to 4500 South. Right now, they're blocking all lanes of travel. Nobody can get through there. So traffic is backed up around the corner of Knutson's Corner, and it's backing up toward Highland Drive. The good news is the rest of your commute is in good shape no matter which other roadway you're taking. Tax problems keeping you up at night? Get the IRS off your back. Let Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox stop IRS harassment now. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we'll get up to 66 degrees before tomorrow's storm brings rain and highs of only 47. Then we stay in the 50s for the rest of the week and drop back into the 40s for the weekend. Right now it's sunny and 52 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Could not go anywhere yesterday, Dave, without hearing some chatter in the background about the BYU-Utah game. And the chatter wasn't about that the Cougs beat the Utes. The chatter was about what happened after the game. And we're going to get into it for the first hour of the Dave and Dujanovic show today.
Yeah, sour grapes is costly, by the way. It's 9:06. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Sneaky inflation. We're going to talk about this in the 10 o'clock hour. When it comes to car purchases, it has me asking, what's the best route to take? Do I go the new car route? Or do I buy a used car? We're going to price it out for you because used car prices are down, like some 6%. Trouble is, they're also up 30% from 5 years ago, hence sneaky inflation, right? Wait until you hear what a new car costs these days, though.
Yeah, it is brutal, but if you thought, I'll just get a used car, I'm going to save a ton, you're not going to believe the story that we're going to tell you about a friend of ours that purchased a car back in 2019 and what he can sell it for today with double the miles.
Countdown to
10:35. It's the story that's gone viral on social media. So if someone asks you for a dash cam for their car for Christmas, you're going to know why they're probably asking you. It's because of this viral video of an alleged staged car crash. A female driver of the car that got smashed into captures this on her dash cam that she happened to have inside of her car. She captures video of a car in front of her coming to a stop and reversing and then smashing into the front end of her car on a busy beltway in New York. Not only did it capture the video, but it also captured the audio of what she was saying to her boyfriend when she was on the phone during this crash.
What happened, babe? Oh my God, what is he doing? Babe! Babe, what happened? I don't know. Babe. I got into an accident. Oh my God. Oh my God,
Where are
babe.
you?
I'm on the Bell Parkway. This guy just reversed into me.
He just reversed into me on the freeway. It was crazy. I love dash cams. I love them so much. I would be shocked if I'm an insurance company that I don't give massive discounts to drivers. I would give massive discounts to drivers if they were willing to put a dash cam on theirs.
Say more, Noriega.
launch. Countdown. 1.
Well, it's the rivalry game that went beyond the Saturday night loss that the Utes suffered at the hands of undefeated BYU Cougs. Congrats, Cougs. You won. Up first, the fine, the fallout, and this question. Is it over now for the athletic director up at the University of Utah and for Utes fans? Or is there more to come?
We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us.
That was shocking to me, Debbie. Shocking to hear that from an athletic director. I've been covering sports for nearly 2 decades. I've done so much. I've never seen an athletic director come on directly after a game and just obliterate the officials like this. I've never seen it. So is a fine, the fine that he received, is that where it's going to end? Is that enough? Because this was truly unprecedented.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Athletic director, University of Utah, we got word yesterday, was fined $40,000 following comments that were directed toward the officials who were officiating the game on Saturday night. The game that the Utes lost. Let's listen to what Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan said after the Utes lost to BYU.
This game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight.
And there was a lot of frustration after this game, even during the game. Let's play a little bit from Utah coach Kyle Whittingham, who wasn't as critical, but still frustrated with what happened during the game.
Unfortunate way to lose a ball game. Proud of our guys, proud of our players. They battled. They should hold their heads high. It's not on them. It's not on them. They played hard. They did everything they could from start to finish. Things out there were ridiculous. Game was all but over. Yeah, it was over, but then it wasn't. It's kind of been the story for several games. We play lights out and just can't get that one last stop.
Now, I think maybe for people that didn't watch the game, if you were one of the 7 people that didn't watch the game, let's reset it a little bit. And this is where all the frustration comes from. So BYU is trailing 21-19. There's under 2 minutes to play. BYU is 91 yards away from their end zone. They're trailing by 2. It's 4th and 10. So the Utes are literally one play away from ending the game. And I wanted to pull the call from Greg Wrubell, the voice of the Cougars. And this is how he describes it. And you can hear the shock in his voice. He thinks the game is over, as did the entire stadium up at Rice-Eccles. Here's the game.
The Cougs need 3 points, but right now they need 10 yards. The line to gain, the 19. Jake Retzloff in the gun. The snap. The back pedal to the goal line. Jake is sacked at the goal line. They will say he was outside the plane. It will not be a safety, but this game is over. And Utah.
There's a flag.
Oh, there's a flag down at the far side of the field. Would it be a hold? Might this be a hold on Utah to keep the game alive? And no one's leaving the field for the BYU offense.
Holding. Defense number 5. Yeah. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
All right, so that flag keeps the game alive. BYU has life. BYU given hope.
So explain what happens from there, Dave.
So BYU is still 90, 80-something yards away from the end zone. They still have to travel an enormous distance in under a minute 30 to score. A field goal or a touchdown wins it for the Cougars.
And they don't have any timeouts at this point.
Right.
BYU has no timeouts.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Maybe they have one timeout during this time.
Okay.
But it's very little time. It's a country mile to travel.
Yes.
Especially with the game on the line, as you said, with very few timeouts, if any. So there's a ton of pressure. But this was the play 91 yards away from the end zone that's got everybody fired up. And it was a holding call that was called, not to get into the details of it, but it was a judgment call, as is every call in football from the referees. They just make a judgment. They say, I think this is holding. I think this is offsides. I think that this is
a foul.
Pass interference. Yeah.
It's a foul, right?
It's a foul.
And the foul's on the Utes.
Yes.
The Utes draw the foul. Right. Yeah. And so basically what happens from there?
So the Cougars, they get the ball back. They march down the field. They end up kicking a field goal to win.
Wow.
And it was
so they stay undefeated.
Classic. They stay undefeated. They're 9-0. And Debbie, I want to expand a little bit more because I get the frustration. I've seen it on both sides. From the Cougars have done similar stuff, not with the athletic director, but similar frustrations after a heartbreaking loss. And I can give you examples of those as well. But it's very, very common, and I give a lot of grace, so to speak, to the players, the athletes, the fans, everyone, because you lose the rivalry game. It is devastating. But I've never seen an athletic director come out and light up the officials and the conference on this level ever before.
We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us.
So straight ahead, let's bring on KSL News Radio's Adam Small, who's been tracking this story all morning long. We'll ask if this is it, if it's over now, or if there's more to come. And then at 9:50, stand by. Everybody seems to be talking about the rivalry game. Not so much the game, but what happened after the game, which we're talking about right now. So we're going to take your live calls to hear from fans at 9:50.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
You've known Master Electrical Service since 1954. That's how long they've been around, and it's a name that you trust. Master Electrical Service, they've joined forces with Mountain Home Services.
So now they can tend to your electrical needs, like those new outlets you need installed in your home. Maybe you need a new EV charger or a generator. Well, thanks to the merger with Mountain Home Services, they can take care of that and so much more, including your HVAC, your heating and air and your plumbing.
That gives you some one-stop shopping with Mountain Home Services. And because they have expertise in electrical, HVAC, plumbing, it's perfect to get into the fireplace business as well.
And that's exactly what they've done. So make sure you give them a call if you're looking to get a new gas fireplace installed just in time for winter. Don't forget, it comes with that upfront pricing guarantee, which means there's no hidden fees.
Check them out online at mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or you can give them a call at 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
The Cougars are on the march.
Touchdown!
For an undefeated season.
LJ with the TD.
The 9-0 Cougars are 3 wins away from the Big 12 championship game and a bid to the college football playoffs. Call in to Cougar Nation tonight from 6 to 7 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
It can be really hard to figure out how much home you can afford. At least it used to be until our friends at UCCU came up with a great idea.
It's Utah Community Credit Union's free home affordability tool. It makes it so easy to know exactly how much home you can afford while you shop for a home.
It instantly shows you your estimated monthly mortgage payment based on the current interest rates. And, of course, you plug in some personal information about there. And you can make slight adjustments to it, like your down payment, the income, the price of the home, and the tool will take care of those changes and how they impact your mortgage payment.
And it does all of this without impacting your credit score at all. And that's great because what really distinguishes this tool is that it can explore different home buying scenarios.
You may not know that UCCU is the #1 mortgage provider in the community. And by the way, this doesn't impact your pocketbook either because it's a free tool designed to help you.
UCCU, home buying experts. You can contact them by phone, email, text, or in person.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
Food brings people together, but many families don't know where their next meal is coming from. In Utah, 317,000 people, many of whom are children, are struggling with food insecurity. And Macy's is continuing the tradition of bringing hope to families in need. You can help provide hope by donating to Macy's Harvest of Hope Drive, now through November 30th. All donations will be donated to a local food bank to serve families in our communities. Purchase an icon for any amount or a prepackaged bag of food with items that food pantries need most at any Macy's store or online at Macys.com. Look for items tagged with the Harvest of Hope icon throughout the store. A portion of sales from those items will also be donated to local food pantries. Together, we can make a difference in our communities and provide hope to families and children facing food insecurity. Visit Macys.com or your local Macy's grocery store to learn more.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, the community of Spring Lake, which is in the southern part of Utah County, has voted to become an official town. Second, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints President Russell M. Nelson dedicated the church's 200th temple yesterday in Tooele County. Third, over 100 storm drains have been adopted in Draper a week after the city launched an Adopt a Storm Drain program. Right now, it's sunny and 52 degrees downtown. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Utes drew the foul at the end of the rivalry game on Saturday night, and their athletic director drew the fine after the game with these comments.
This game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight.
And those comments were costly, not just for the athletic director financially, but for the reputation as well.
The commissioner also issued a statement, and he said something along the lines of, there's an appropriate and inappropriate way to voice concerns, that the conference prioritizes professionalism, integrity, and fairness. So Harlan is fined $40,000. The Big 12 commissioner makes that statement. Harlan issues a statement of his own as a follow-up, saying, my comments came after having just left our team locker room where our student athletes were hurting and upset, and the University of Utah is proud to be a member of the Big 12 Conference, and we look forward to working with our peers to continue to enhance the league. So that is the follow-up statement, which came on Sunday. The remarks came after Saturday night's Utes loss to the undefeated Cougars. KSL News Radio's Adam Small in studio with us now. You've been tracking this story all morning long. You were also watching the game. I saw some of your comments posted on social media about the game and what happened after the game, Adam. I'm curious to know what you've been able to find out. Is this over now for the Utes, or is there more to come from what you've been able to figure out? It's reporting.
It seems to be it, honestly. I mean, this is kind of just how things go in sports. When someone does something they're not supposed to, a fine comes down, statements come out, and it really just seems to be that's where things get put to bed. I mean, I don't imagine there's anything more the Big 12 could do. I mean, everyone with Utah said what's going to be said. I mean, it's a frustrating situation. I think that's what it kind of boils down to, is that Utah's had anything but the season they were expecting. Frustrations boiled over. They've lost Cam Rising, Brant Keithy, Money Parks. Coach Whittingham's frustrated. Mark Harlan's frustrated. He wants to see them good. And I mean, it really seems like that's what it boils down to. And I don't imagine there would be anything else that really follows what we've seen here.
Now, the athletic director, Mark Harlan, addressed those comments after the fine. What was his message?
He seemed to walk back a lot of what he had said in that moment, because I mean, it's funny when you're looking up the sound on Twitter where he comes up to the podium. That was not a planned message. Mark Harlan just kind of walks up to the post-game mic and starts talking. You can literally see in some videos some reporters scrambling to get a microphone on the table because they wanted to, record what he said. And it really seems like in that moment, the frustration boils over. And then when he released the statement, he's like, look, I was just in the locker room. Players were upset. I was upset. Obviously there's a time and place to voice your frustrations. And he seemed to say that's not really, I acknowledge this was not the best avenue, but I accept, the consequences for what I said. And he did have to walk back what he said about the Big 12 because he straight up said, I don't feel like proud to be in the Big 12 tonight because he was so frustrated. And he had to be like, no, I got to go back. We are proud to be a member of the Big 12 Conference. We want to better the conference like every other school.
Adam Small, thank you for following this as we continue to unfortunately talk about something other than the game. And this is what is so incredible about this rivalry is it is so passionate. BYU is having this historic season, this undefeated, perfect season. And I remember when the University of Utah was having their perfect seasons. They've had two in the 2000s, and I remember the frustration, the BYU fans, and the jealousy. It was like, the Utes were so good, and now the shoe is on the other foot, and now the Utes have to watch BYU have this historic year, and there's a lot of jealousy that comes out for this.
But you found an added layer of irony to what happened on Saturday night after the game because there was a video that you had seen on social media. Talk about what you saw in that video. And let's play a clip about that video. And for context, this was college presidents for the University of Utah and BYU producing a video to disagree better. And you happened to see this several days before the actual game.
Yeah, it did. It reminded me of the Governor Cox Disagree Better videos where he meets with somebody from a different party and they talk about how they may not agree but they can do it in a civil way. Well, that's exactly what Shane Reese, who's the president of BYU, and Taylor Randall, the president of the University of Utah, did. They got together, standing side by side, and they're having a conversation about, let's make sure we don't blow this rivalry game out of proportion. And this is what they had to say.
Hey, I'm Taylor. When you're a Utah superfan, you do things differently.
And I'm Shane. And as a diehard BYU fan, we also do things a bit differently.
For example, maybe you have a picture of Kyle Whittingham on your mantle.
Or you can still name every player on the 1984 championship team.
Your idea of a perfect date might be lighting some candles and rewatching the 2009 Sugar Bowl.
You name your firstborn Lavelle Edwards.
You always eat red M&Ms first.
Or you literally bleed blue. And
Shane,
that's healthy, by the way.
Shane, you're starting a med school. But most of all, you respect the people on the other side, no matter how bad you want them to lose.
However hot the rivalry gets, you don't let the competition get in the way of your common humanity.
And remember, what happens off the field matters just as much as the score.
In the end, that's what makes you a real fan.
Well, that and having Utah Man played at your funeral.
Or Rise and Shout.
Oh, come on.
So the irony here for me, Debbie, is that the university presidents are clearly talking to the fan bases. They're saying, "Hey, listen, folks, let's not blow this out of proportion. We can, get excited for the game, but don't make it bad. Don't take the fun out of it." So to have leadership from the University of Utah, not the players, not the fans, but to have the athletic director and on some level the head coach come out with sour grapes, blaming the officials, blaming the Big 12 Conference. That, I think, is what makes this message different. It's one thing to have bad behavior with fans. That happens all the time. You can't prevent that as much as you want it to. But you can prevent your employees from doing this kind of stuff.
And if you're just tuning in, this is what Mark Harlan, Utah's athletic director, the University of Utah, said after the Utes lost to BYU on Saturday night.
This game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight.
And I will say I was shocked with Athletic Director Harlan's comments on Sunday about their brevity. And when he was addressing, after he had been fined, he was still suffering from the loss. I want to read verbatim what his statement is when we come back, because I was a little bit surprised. It was more tame than I would have expected.
And I've got my takes, too. See if you agree or disagree with my thoughts after watching the game and then listening to the comments. Next.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Salt Lake County leaders are looking to divert $10 million to knock down and rebuild the Salt Palace Convention Center. This is part of the plan to overhaul the 2 blocks to the east of the Delta Center. Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson's Chief of Staff, Andrew Roberts, tells KSL TV this is going to cost at least $1 billion to do, so they want to use this money to help lock down a bond for the project.
We need to rebuild it, and then there's an opportunity on the table to not just rebuild what we have, but rebuild it better.
Roberts says there are several steps they need to take to use this money for the project, including getting lawmakers to sign off. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. We are learning about new steps to protect U.S. service members from mysterious traumatic brain injuries. Here is ABC's Ann Flaherty, who spoke to Start Here.
These soldiers are wearing balaclavas. They're trying to cover their mouth, their nose, their ears while they're shooting any weapons, because the latest research shows that it goes in through these cavities of their skull, and that's how it reaches the brain in the first place. So they say they are testing these new technologies. They're racing to try to find answers. They are going at warp speed to try to get to the bottom of this.
The brain injuries have been linked to powerful blasts during specialized training for Army Special Forces. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 328 right now. That's 0.75%. We're at 44,319. A sunny and warm day today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new windows in time for the holidays, but overwhelmed on how to begin? Look no further than Peach Windows. You know, at Peach, they're all about giving you options. Peach offers a wide selection of wood windows, sleek modern black metal frames, European tilt and turn windows, plus much, much more. Let Peach help you find the perfect match for your home. They can work with your budget and personal style. Visit their showroom in Salt Lake City, 2940 South 300 West. That's 2940 South 300 West, and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from the experienced staff. No inflated markups, just offers so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself. That's Peach Doors and Windows. Find them online, peachbuildingproducts.com, peachbuildingproducts.com. It's Peach Doors and Windows.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, things are looking pretty good across the Wasatch Front, but you do have a bit of slowing northbound I-15 as you move past 7200 South in Midvale over the I-215 South interchange into Murray. It's due to a lane restriction. The right lane is blocked now with construction barrels, so everybody's having to move over to the left a bit, and that'll slow you down. And then we've had a crash reported on Mountain View Corridor at 4100 South in West Valley. Haven't seen that on cameras yet, but use caution in the area. Over 1,000 people live on Utah streets. Please help the Rescue Mission of Salt Lake provide meals, shelter, and a permanent way off Utah streets. Help now at rescuesaltlake.org. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get up to 66 degrees for a high today. Lots of sunshine before this storm moves in tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have rain in the morning and 47 for a high. We'll stay in the 50s for the rest of the week. Right now it's sunny and 53 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, it was the Utes that on the field that drew the foul at the end of the game or toward the end of the game. But it was their athletic director, the University of Utah, that drew the fine from the conference for comments that he made after the game.
This game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight.
I was reading one of the Twitter posts from an executive producer over at KSL Sports, Matt Glade. He and I worked together forever. We've been in a million press conferences. And he said that was the most tense press conference I've ever been a part of. And it was. It wasn't just the athletic director. It was Coach Kyle Whittingham as well, who was extremely frustrated, that made some comments, harsh comments about the officials as well.
Unfortunate way to lose a ball game. Proud of our guys, proud of our players. They battled. They should hold their heads high. It's not on them. It's not on them. They played hard. They did everything they could from start to finish.
And then what you don't see is after Coach Witt makes his comments, he stands up, and as he's walking off the podium or the stage, there was a chair in his way, and he just knocks the chair out of his way, just flips it over. So frustrated. And listen, this is a rivalry game. I get that. It is such a fun game, exciting game. It's out of proportion, the way we feel about the rivalry game versus the rest of the season. And there's always a winner and loser. And this has just happened to be the down year for the Utes. And you can hear the frustration from the fans, from the coach, from the leadership.
I know there's a ton of angst over that holding call, the foul that the Utes drew at the end of the game. But I want to get beyond that. Even though I'm sure in sports circles this will be talked about for the ages, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it comes down to the rivalry game. I want to just say this. Congratulations to BYU. You know, you're undefeated. That's amazing. And when my daughter and I sat down to watch the game on Saturday, and we geared up for this, Dave. This was our Saturday. From noon on, we were all about Utes and Cougs. My daughter's a University of Utah graduate. So in our hearts, you know, we were rooting for the Utes, partly because of all the tuition I'd paid to the University of Utah, too. I mean, that's where my allegiance is, right? Every check that I've ever wrote for a parking ticket or tuition, you know, that's what we were pulling for the Utes. But she said to me, and I totally agree with her, she said, I kind of want to see BYU win because they're on a roll for an undefeated season, and it's super cool for the whole state of Utah. So congrats to the Cougs, because I felt like when I saw what was happening after the game, I felt like that was missing. Now maybe they all celebrated, but that's what I felt was missing as somebody who was sitting back and watching this as a Sun Devil fan. I'm an ASU grad. I'm a Sun Devil fan at heart. So look, can you mind if I just kind of go over some of my thoughts here, Dave? And we're also, I want to, of course, you've been involved in sports forever, so you probably have a lot of thoughts too. And we're going to take phone calls at 9:50 from our listeners because you're lighting up our text line. A couple things that I've been thinking about since I saw that news conference and having watched the game. For Harlan's words, I felt like this is the all caps email you type out but save in drafts until the next day when you have a good night's sleep.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And you wake up and you see if the new you still thinks it's a good idea to hit the send button. I think at some point we've all done something like that. We've hit the send button before we've had anybody proofread it or we've had a good night's sleep to think about it.
That's a great point. And one of the things we do for the athletes is we have a 10-minute cooling off period. They literally call it the cooling off period. So between the end of the game and the reporters being able to interview the players, we can't get in there until 10 minutes of cooling off has been able to happen because they understand emotions are high. We don't want people to say stuff they don't mean or that they will regret later. Well, there's no such ban on the athletic director. So we've tried to protect the players from themselves and even the coaches on some level. So that's in part why this was so interesting to have the athletic director come in and speak.
The other point that I wrote down is that leadership and sportsmanship are top down. That was my experience playing sports through my entire youth into high school. Granted, I didn't go to school at college on a sports scholarship. Two of my kids did. But I've always believed, as somebody who's participated in sports, loves sports, and has, worked with many, many, many coaches, that leadership and sportsmanship are top down. And that's where I felt badly that I clicked on CNN last night. I believe it was CNN on their app just to check out headlines for the day. And I saw that it was the Harlan, fine, the $40,000 fine that got the headline on CNN. So I think it's always, and it's always the case no matter where you're at. And I think that's a good reminder. That my perspective only, of course.
And I think that's exactly what the university's presidents were trying to do. In fact, let me just play a little short part of a video that the two presidents, Taylor Randall and Shane Reese, BYU and Utah's presidents, they produced a video.
But most of all, you respect the people on the other side, no matter how bad you want them to lose.
However hot the rivalry gets, you don't let the competition get in the way of your common humanity.
And remember, what happens off the field matters just as much as the score.
In the end, that's what makes you a real fan.
And to your point, Debbie, you're saying leadership is the top down. Well, that's what the university presidents were trying to do and trying to get the fans to have that message resonate with the fans, which is all the more shocking that you would see it come from the athletic director and on some level the head coach.
And the third thing I want to bring up is the game was stolen comment just came across to me as wrong. And let me explain why I'm saying that. The Utes had 3 scoreless quarters when I looked at the box score at the end. I'm like, did I go back and remind myself, did they score? They had 3 scoreless quarters. They went into the locker room at halftime with all of the momentum on their side. Because, Dave, this is going to offend you, but the first half for BYU was probably not the best half.
No, that half of football was offensive to me.
It was clunky.
BYU was not good.
It was as though BYU was allowing the game to control them, and they weren't in control of the game. There were some confusions over a snap and everything. It was just a little messy for BYU. And you may say it was really messy, but it was messy for BYU. And I thought, oh, for sure, the Utes have this in the bag. They had all the momentum going into the locker room at half in their court. And but, if you want to win, score. You got to score. And you can argue back and forth as to whether they had opportunities to score or not. But to suggest that, and I think this happens a lot in sports, whether it's coaches or parents, to suggest that the game came down to a call from the ref. And by the way, I saw a lot of yellow flag. It was the United Nations of yellow flags at times. It was both the BYU and the Utes, the Cougs and the Utes drawing fouls throughout the game. But if you can't suggest that a game, you can't lay the blame at the refs, at the feet of the refs, because there were so many opportunities to score, and in 3 quarters, the Utes did not score.
To that point, after that holding play that everyone was so frustrated and angry about, BYU went 7 more plays, 65 yards, and then kicked a 44-yard field goal to win it. To your point, it wasn't stolen. There was one call that was debatable, whether it should have been called or not. BYU still drove down the field, and then Will Farron, Davis High alumnus,
good for him,
BYU kicker, with all the pressure of the state and all BYU fans sitting directly on his shoulders, is sitting on the sidelines, smiling as it gets closer and closer, goes in there, kicks the ball, wins the game, and it was celebration for BYU. I feel bad that so much of the focus has been on Utah, the sour grapes, and I think that's tainted what should have been just a classic game of excitement where they both battle and BYU comes out ahead.
You have been lighting up our text line, y'all. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Okay, it's your turn to chime in on your thoughts about BYU's win over the University of Utah in the rivalry game on Saturday night, the fine, the fallout, and your feelings. 801-575-TALK. Next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
In 2024, dating is a disaster. We've been ghosted, breadcrumbed, stuck in situationships. Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm Caitlin. Welcome to our new podcast, Dating at Her Age. Dating has been so dicey for us, we asked KSL, can we launch an all-new podcast about it?
People use these dating apps. You're not really dating when you're on the dating app.
Dating at Her Age, brought to you by Mountain Home Services. A new episode drops every Thursday on KSLNewsRadio.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The Good Feet Store. The life you love starts here.
It's complicated.
These days, that's how people even describe their relationship status. When it comes to the latest complexities in your car, it's gotten really complicated. The experts at AMCO undergo the most rigorous training to stay on top of the latest car technologies, so there's nothing we can't fix. Well, except for that complicated relationship. When it comes to that, you're on your own. AA, MCO. Check engine light on? We'll check it for free.
Hi, I'm Miley O'Keefe. In competitive gymnastics, flexibility and precision are crucial, and Les Olson IT knows how important flexibility and precision are to your business. It's why they deliver the very best IT security, office equipment, collaborative technology, and so much more. Let Les Olson IT's Perfect 10 service empower your business at lesolsonit.com.
Les Olson IT.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, several firefighters are recovering after responding to a garage fire in Riverton this weekend. Crews say they were able to get the fire out, but it reignited in the garage and caught some of their protective gear on fire. Second, several events and commemorations for Veterans Day are taking place across the state, including a week of events run by the University of Utah Veterans Support Center. And third, BYU has moved up to 7th place in the AP poll after their dramatic win against Utah. The Cougars host Kansas on Saturday. Right now in downtown Salt Lake, it's 53 degrees. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
We're talking about the fine and the fallout and your feelings about what happened after and perhaps even during the BYU-Utah rivalry game this weekend. Dave just fact-checked me, and he said, no, it wasn't 3 quarters that the Utes were scoreless. It was only 2 quarters that the Utes were scoreless. But my take stands. If you want to win. Certainly had probably plenty of opportunities to score, get a touchdown on the board. So the game didn't get, come down to, just like a couple of points here.
It really was a great game. It has everything that you want. It's the back and forth. It's the rivalry game. It's on national television. Everybody, that stadium is absolutely electric. You couldn't hear a thing because it was so noisy. That is exactly what you want out of college football. And to taint it in the post game instead of just celebrating it is my utmost frustration.
Again, the comments from Mark Harlan, University of Utah Athletic Director, drawing a fine from the league, a $40,000 fine.
This game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight.
And Harlan addressed those comments on Sunday. He released a statement that says, my comments came after we just left the locker room. Student-athletes were hurting and upset. The University of Utah is proud to be a member of the Big 12 Conference, and we look forward to working with our peers to continue to enhance the league. And then he wishes BYU the best. We're taking your phone calls right now. Don in Kaysville. Don, what did you think?
Well, I've got a couple of thoughts on the game. There was, during that second quarter, BYU was flagged for a face mask. Watching it live, it didn't look like a face mask, but then when they showed it in slow motion, it clearly wasn't a face mask. Utah gets extra 15 yards, puts them right down by the goal line. They end up scoring a touchdown. The second, so calls go all directions during the game. But the second thing I wanted to mention was during that final kickoff and return by Utah, where they're laddering the ball and trying everything they can to try to work their way down the field to score a touchdown, there's a flag thrown because Mark Harlan came onto the football field to yell at the officials. So had Utah gone down and scored a touchdown, it would have been nullified by Mark Harlan's actions.
I remember that flag going down. I didn't know it was Mark Harlan. I thought it was. They just said it on the University of Utah sideline. I didn't know if it was Harlan or not. I'll have to look into that. Thanks, Don, for the phone call. Let's jump over to Dave in South Jordan. Dave, what do you think?
Yes, I say ditto to the comment about 3 minutes before halftime, that holding call that even the the roughing call that even the announcer said shouldn't have been called, and it led directly to that touchdown. But second comment is, think about the times you've seen on about parents at Little League games running out on the field, berating the referees, and we just stand there in awe and go, what the heck is going on? And yet, what did we just see? We saw the athletic director run out onto the field, berate the referees during the game as well as after. You know, it's embarrassing when we see it happen at kids' games. Why should we feel any different than the adults doing the same thing?
And it's very interesting when players who are on the field that have the blood, sweat, and the tears in the post-game press conference, when they are not saying anything, when they are showing the restraint, it just highlights how bad it is to have leadership be the ones that are unloading, because the players showed a great deal of restraint by not saying anything.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Did you watch the game?
I did. I was embarrassed to see the coaches and the athletic director. The problem was that the U's had a lousy season, 5 losses in the Big 12, when they thought they were going to be king of the Big 12.
It's true. The expectations up at the University of Utah were sky high. They were ranked in the top 10 early on in the season, and then, you know, their star quarterback gets injured. And there's not many places in the country where your star quarterback gets injured and you can still have that special season. So, yeah, the University of Utah has not had a great season by their standards, but they lost one of the best quarterbacks in Cam Rising in the entire country. So I don't even blame them for struggling this season. What is shocking is that BYU has had this magical, unbelievable, undefeated season so far. And that hurts, right? Let's be honest, that hurts. When your rival is doing much better, jealousy creeps in, and then we kind of...
But that's somebody who's embedded in the sidelines point of view, frankly, Dave. I'm not embedded on the sidelines like you are, right? You're a huge BYU fan. A lot of people who are listening right now are either a Utes fan or Cougs fan. I'm an Arizona State Sun Devil. So I'm looking at this from more the outside in. I don't have that same emotional attachment that y'all have. So I went into this game, and my daughter's a University of Utah grad. I talked about that earlier. And so we were like, oh, we hope the Utes, win. And then we're like, oh, but then she's like, well, I really want BYU to win because it really, they're undefeated. And it keeps them undefeated if they win. So there's probably a lot of people out there, Dave, who are looking at this with a much different lens and now realizing that the story isn't about that. There's a Utah college football team that is undefeated and is having an amazing season. And instead what they're seeing on the local and the national headlines is about what happened after the game and the remarks that were made directed toward the reffing. I've never been a believer that a game, a match, whatever you're playing, comes down to one call. You're in it to win it for the entire game. So when we rest blame at the feet of the refs for making a call, I think that's the wrong way to look at it. It is a team sport. Everybody contributes. If you want to win, you win. You got to be in it to win it throughout the whole game. And they had opportunities to score. They didn't capitalize on those, whatever the, sportscasters say, capitalize on those. And so BYU gets the win. That's it.
I just got a text from a former BYU football player, one of the greats, played in the NFL, and he said, lesson learned here is always cool down 15 to 20 minutes before you address the media. And we do that for the players. We tell the players, listen, we don't even allow the media to come in and ask you questions because you can cool down. I didn't think we needed that for athletic directors as well, but apparently that's just a great lesson. It's raw. Everyone's invested. You want your team to win. You're disappointed. But like you said, don't send the all-caps email. Never send the all-caps email.
Look, We've all been there, right? We've all been there. Sleep on it for the night before you hit send.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. President Russell M. Nelson of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints made history over the weekend, dedicating the church's 200th temple around the world. The Deseret Peak, Utah temple, located in Tooele, first announced in 2019. A firefighter from Provo died after a hiking accident in southern Utah's Garfield County. Wade Matthews with the county sheriff's office says 39-year-old Aaron White was hiking with friends and fell more than 30 feet.
We feel for the family, the friends of the victim. We know this person's going to be missed. He was loved. And, we just feel this is a tragic situation.
And he says there was no sign of foul play in that death. At Arlington National Cemetery today, President Biden laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington National Cemetery as the rest of the country marks Veterans Day. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day now, 365 points. The NASDAQ is down, but just barely, only about 6 points right now. And our KSL weather, things are going to turn cold tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
How does a soccer club born in an unlikely place,
Utah? You sure you want to do that in Utah?
built with players no one else wanted,
We knew no one believed in us.
reach the league's highest heights?
We finally did it. It was like just this feeling of getting to the top of the mountain.
How does that same team find a way to shatter expectations in the midst of a fight for its own survival?
Our club is burning to the ground as we speak.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and in a new podcast, Making of a Moment, the RSL story, we take a closer look at one of those iconic sports moments.
Soccer is a crazy game, and we saw it firsthand tonight.
And unravel how knowing the truth of these moments can transform what they mean.
I just kind of got chills right now thinking about it.
Making of a Moment, the RSL story, is available now. Follow us at makingamomentpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, things are going pretty well all across the Wasatch Front. No accidents reported right now, but we do have some slowing northbound I-15 after you leave 90th South in Sandy to just before you get to 53rd South in Murray. That is due to lane restrictions over the I-215 South interchange. The right lane is blocked there, so everybody has to move to the left. But it's just slowing you down, adding an extra minute or two to your commute there. This holiday season, Murdoch Hyundai is grateful for you. Celebrate during the Murdoch Hyundai Season of Giving sales event. Receive 0% for 4 years on the Elantra, Sonata, Tucson, or Santa Fe. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be warmer today with highs in the mid-60s, but colder through the day. Temperatures dropping to 40 tomorrow as a small storm rolls through. And right now, we're at 55 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Priced Out, Inflation, special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
And we're going to talk about what's called sneaky inflation. When it comes to used cars specifically, but the price of used cars these days compared to the price of new cars just really has me wondering which route to take. We'll get into that in just a moment. But if you hear that the price on used cars is dropping, you're right. It is dropping. The good news is it's dropped 6%. The bad news is used car prices are still up over 30% from 2019. That's called sneaky inflation.
Which is not as bad as the housing market. Since 2021, the housing market has gone up 39%. So you say 31%, I say it barely registers. No, yeah, it's incredible. And what's so difficult is not only is it the cost of the vehicle itself, gasoline has skyrocketed. It's way more expensive just to fill up that vehicle. So I think we're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do we do this? What's the best way to do it? Is just continuing to buy older used cars the best move forward? Or do you just bite the bullet and say, you know what, I'm going to just go all in and buy a new car?
Can we talk through that in just a second? Because I'd like to share with you like the weird twisted way I think through this. I'm not sure I'm thinking about it right, so I'd love to get your take on that. Now, I also want to throw in there the price of car insurance. I looked at, I just got a bill for my car insurance, and it's almost doubled in the last several years. The cost of my car. Now I'm driving a newer car, but double? Really? So there's lots to think about with this. But when I'm looking at an article right now that from Fox Business. And they're also talking about the price gap between new and used cars. They said the price gap itself has hit an all-time high. So there's basically a $20,000 difference between a new car price on average and a used car price. New car vehicles selling on average for $47,000 compared to used car prices that are sitting at $27,000, Dave.
There's a $20,000 difference.
Yeah. That's a huge gap.
That's a huge gap.
Doesn't want to make doesn't that put one notch in the used car column?
Yes.
You know, for that, I mean, does it make you lean into wanting to buy a used car over a new car?
It really does. I mean, quite honestly, you're just doing math at that point, right? There's some hidden costs, or maybe not so, in your face costs with used cars, small little repairs that can eat into that $20,000 that you're saving. And then you've got a convenience factor and the loss of time if you're constantly putting it in the shop. But to articulate the point of what the sneaky inflation has done to cars, one of our producers, Noah, told me about a car that he bought in 2019. So right at this line in the sand of when used cars just skyrocketed. So he buys a 2013 car in 2019. He's had it for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. He's doubled the miles.
Really?
He's doubled the miles on the car.
What is he driving?
I can't remember. It was like a Corolla or something, right? Yeah. Anyway, so he looks at what his car would go for today. Okay. 5 years later, with double the miles, it sells for the same amount he bought it for in 2019. That's how much inflation has impacted the used car market. He could sell it today having broken even. That, I think, is one of the best examples of just how sneaky the inflation has become when it comes to buying old cars.
Problem is, if he traded it in or he sold it, what's he going to buy? So the average used car price is right around $27,000. A new car price is $20,000 more than that at $47K. What are you gonna go? It's like the same issue we have with the housing market.
The housing. That's
I'm gonna
exactly what I
sell.
thought of.
It sounds like a great idea.
Look at all that equity.
Where am I going to go? What am I going to buy? Because the price of that new house, that new car has gone up too.
So exactly, I think the math problem we have is we see how much our cars are costing, whether it's new or used, but what's the alternative? Same thing with houses. What's the alternative? You've got to live somewhere. Now, another one of our producers, Alex, told me a story about his parents. He said they would save their tax refund and then sell their old car and buy a less old car. He said we'd switch over. It would be the tax refund new car, and we'd just rebuy an old car every couple of years. And that's how his parents had done it for forever and ever. They just knew that every couple of years they're just going to buy another newer, older car without going all in and buying a new car.
Dave and I talking about sneaky inflation when it comes to specifically the used car market. You may see headlines that say used car prices are dropping, and they are, down 6%. But what you might not know is the flip side. The bad news of that is they're still up over 30% from 2019. So they're pricey, and they're kind of staying pricey. So here's what I think about the used car situation. And I'm just going to talk about Alex's situation, what his parents do. I just wonder if the evil I know under the hood is better than the evil I don't know under somebody else's hood of their used car, right? Like, I've been with this car now for years. I know exactly what's wrong with it. I know everything I've had fixed, but I don't know what I'm getting myself into if I buy your used car, Dave. And that scares me.
Yes. Yeah, the devil you know,
yes.
for sure. Yeah, that plays into it. It's why I've driven old beaters for years and years. I've only purchased one truly new car in the 25 years of marriage. And I've been buying cars for probably 27 or 28 years now. But we've only purchased one new car. And I will say, though, we've never had any problems with it. We've had it since 2016. Now it's old. Now it's 8 years old. But because we bought a new car, I forgot how nice it was to just forget about routine, or consistent repairs, or this needs to be. The new car was like lifting a stress off my shoulders.
I've really, in the last 30 years, leaned into buying used cars. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of used car buying. And then occasionally there'd be a need to go out and buy a new car. Like I remember this one time we bought a Volkswagen, a Passat. Was it a Passat? Yeah. Well, I mean, it was cheaper than buying a used car because it was like end of the year. It was a clearance. I think we got that thing for $20,000. That was many years ago. It was pretty cheap, right? It made it so it wasn't worth it to go buy a used car. But I recently bought a new car, bought a hybrid. I wanted better gas mileage. Yes. I also was at the point with the used car that I was driving for the last several years that, as you well know, I was in the shop with it more than I was here with it. I was having to make arrangements consistently to leave work right after the show, go sit with it at the mechanic. Love them. They were great. But the point is I was spending a lot of time and money. And I never, I was just, could I take this thing on a road trip? Am I going to be okay? I don't really know how my week is going to go. And no kidding. It seemed to happen when my week was super busy that my car decided to have a major problem. I remember leaning out the window one night at the bank, and it was just me and the ATM machine and my car. And I heard this ever so slight squeak. And I was like, what is that? And then I turn my car off and I turn it back on. And I'm like, it's my car. It's probably something minor. Oh, no. Of course it wasn't something minor. It was a complete overhaul of the whole entire oil system, which I knew I was kind of on the verge. I took it to the mechanic the next day, and they're like, you cannot leave with this thing.
Oh.
So I called my son. Hey, can you come pick up your mom? And I got this and that,
And you were done.
So that's where I got with the used cars in terms of not really knowing or being able to know if I could count on it. And I finally decided to lean in on a new car that I know I'm going to have for probably 15 years. I'm hoping, honestly.
Yeah. And you forget that in another 7 or 8 years, you're going to have to start putting money into that new car, the quote-unquote new car,
right.
because it's going to start acting up.
It's a lot of money, though. It just hurts. The new car price, it just hurts, Dave.
Yeah, and it really was shocking to me to see 31% over the last 5 years. That's how much used cars have gone up in sneaky inflation, and maybe not so sneaky after all, but it is very expensive. And I don't know. I think that's what we're struggling with a little bit is, do I want to have the hassles of a used car, or do I just go all in and buy a new one as expensive as they are?
So when we come back, are you on team used or team new car? Team used or team new car? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. We'll get Dave's take and your take next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I hadn't really thought a great deal of is the health of my garage door until my garage door broke, and I had no idea who to call. Absolutely no idea.
That's right. You have to call Advanced Garage Doors. And you can also look them up online. We'll give you that information in just a moment. It comes with a lifetime warranty on all residential doors and parts. And you'll have the peace of mind knowing that your garage door is always protected as long as you follow their recommendations, Dave.
Yeah, we sat down with Advanced Garage Doors. It had a nice little lunch, and they started breaking down all the things you need to look at with your garage door, the hardware, how smoothly it runs on the track, how quiet it is. I had never given so much thought to my garage doors, but when you listen to their garage doors and when they adjust it or they install it, I didn't know a garage door could be so quiet and so peaceful.
Make sure you give them a call or look them up online. They have this proprietary 23-point safety inspection to make sure your garage door is functioning properly, and a free zero-cost estimate to give you an itemized list of things to make sure your garage door is working spot on.
Yeah, 24/7, same-day service. Go to advanced-door.com. That's advanced-door.com.
Or you can give them a call, 801-252-5977. Again, 801-252-5977.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
Hi, my name is Kendon Holdaway, and I work for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. Before that, I worked as a dialysis technician at the largest dialysis center in Utah. And before that, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease at age 14. However, I am one of the lucky ones. I have an amazing mother who gave me a second chance. She donated her kidney to me, and it changed my life. Thanks to her and a scholarship from the Kidney Foundation, I was able to graduate college, get married, and apply to medical school in hopes of becoming a doctor. Sadly, there are many who are not as lucky as I am. Every car you donate to towcars.org gives hope and help to 3,000 patients like me, many of whom are still waiting for their miracle. Towing is free and donations are tax deductible. Keep donations local by donating online at towkars.org. That's towcars with a K, like kidney.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Plus, let your voice be heard on the Utah Hockey Club Fan Forum on KSLSports.com, your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports and 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jim Weber is here from Foothill Oriental Rugs. And Jim, it's always exciting to have you here because then we know it's the semi-annual sale. First of all, you are one of the very few direct importers.
You hear that old cliche, we cut out the middleman, and what it enables me to do is I get better merchandise, more unique merchandise, even have a lot of things specifically made for me, and I can offer them at prices 25% below the industry average. So it's a win-win for me, and it's a win-win for my customers.
What have you got on sale for us?
Well, for instance, we got a 9x12 India Agra, retail $46.54, 70% off, on sale for $13.96. We've got a 6x9 Tibetan Contemporary rug, retail $3,400, on sale for $1,020. If you've ever needed a rug, this is a great time to come in and look at rugs because our retail prices are better than the industry and average, and right now they're marked down up to 70% off.
Don't miss out. The semi-annual sale is underway now at Foothill Oriental Rugs, 1460 South Foothill Drive, just south of Foothill Village.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the Big 12 Conference has fined University of Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan $40,000 for criticizing the officiating after Utah lost to BYU on Saturday. Second, President Russell M. Nelson of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints made history over the weekend, dedicating the 200th temple in the world. This is the Deseret Peak, Utah Temple in Tooele. Third, the community of Spring Lake, which is in the southern part of Utah County, has voted to become an official town now. 55 degrees and sunny right now. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Priced out. Inflation. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and I talking today and most of this week about inflation. And we're drilling down right now on sneaky inflation with the used car market. And let me explain. By most accounts, the price of new cars on average have dropped about 6%. However, the sneaky part of this equation is that they're actually up over the last 5 years by 30%. So don't get too excited when you see the headline, used cars are down 6%.
We'd love to hear from you, 801-575-TALK, but one of our texters, Debbie, just said, hey, I bought a brand new truck, and I was in every 6 months at the dealership for some sort of a recall or a maintenance issue. And I had forgotten about that. When new cars roll out, they're kind of unknown until they've been on the road for 6 months, and then stuff starts popping up. There's a little recall here and there. Very common.
The average cost of a new car, about $47,000 these days. Whew. I don't know if that includes the truck that our texter just
definitely
texted in about.
Definitely not.
The average cost of a used car, $20,000 under that. So it creates a little bit of a dilemma. Do I buy the used car not knowing if there's something going on under the hood that I'm not aware of that's going to cost me a boatload to fix? Or do I go with the new car with the warranty? But there's so much to talk about here. Our very own Heather Kelly, who hosts a podcast, Money Making Sense, has a method when it comes to car buying. And we ushered her in studio this morning and said, you have to remind us what that method is because it is really smart.
Well, so what I do is if I know I can afford $300 a month car payment, I'm just throwing out a number here, then every month, even if I don't need a car, I am putting away $300 a month into a savings account, a high yield savings account, mind you. And then when it's ready, I'm ready to buy a new car, I typically have enough money in that savings account to just buy it outright. I don't have to pay the interest.
On a loan.
On a loan. And yeah.
So do you buy new and then run it as long as you can, or do you turn it over every few years?
I buy used because I refuse to pay for the depreciation for a car you roll off the lot.
Right.
And I before I bought my newest car a couple of years ago, I drove my other car for 22 years.
You'd been saving all along?
Yes.
For 22 years?
Yes. And so I had enough.
Holy smokes.
I had enough money to buy a newer car, and I have leftover. So I went on a trip.
Oh, I love it.
When it comes to used versus new, Heather, or let me back up. When it comes to getting rid of your used car, what's the equation that you use to be? It's time to just turn this car in or to sell it.
Well, it depends on how much, is still left in that car.
Yeah.
Mine, I actually turned in for the kidney cars thing, just
like you
for
made a
tax,
donation.
right, for a tax write-off. But if it had been a slightly newer car, it still had a lot of get up and go, I might try to do a trade-in, but you do that separately from the car that you're going to buy. Do not try to merge your trade-in with buying a new car, especially through a dealer, because they will figure out a way to make it work to their benefit instead of your benefit.
How do you trade in? Can you trade it in with a dealership, or are you saying just a private sale?
Either one will work.
So you say just do it separately from the actual purchase of a new or used vehicle that you're making.
Correct.
So do you just call the dealership and say, hey, I'd like to sell you my car?
Yeah, I did that. My mother's car, when she passed away, we had an extra car. And so it's about 8 years old, a 2016 Mazda. But, you know, she was a little old lady. She didn't drive it much. And so I just called up the dealership and I'm like, hey, this is 20,000 miles on it. It's 8 years old. They're like, we'll take it. And I'm like, all right. So,
Done deal.
Done deal.
When it comes to making the decision to get rid of a used car, Heather, does it have to have a certain number of miles on it for you, or does it have to be in the shop too much? How do you work through that when you make the decision? Because for me, when I decided to part with my used car that I'd been driving, and I bought it used, by the way, bought it used, and I'd been driving it for a number of years. It was just too many times in the shop for me. But I'd gotten to really good working condition. I'd spent a lot of money on it to do that.
Right.
But I just felt like I couldn't trust it anymore.
Yeah, I think it's like the life of the car. Like for my old one, I literally drove it for 22 years. And I did spend a good $1,200 the year before I bought my new one, just replacing all the belts, trying to do everything. But I wanted a whole brand new engine. I didn't want to get rid of my car. But the mechanic was like, a whole new engine is going to be $5,000. Your car is not worth $5,000. And he refused to do it. Yeah. He absolutely refused to do it. And so I realized at that point, when the mechanic doesn't want my money, it's probably time to get a new car.
Oh, Heather, thank you so much. I think it's a good conversation to have, because I will say I've only purchased one really brand new car, and it was refreshing not to have problem after problem after problem. And if there ever was, then it's under warranty and I can take it in.
One thing I want to say about the gentleman who wrote in, say he bought a new truck and now it's in every 6 months, is the period between 2021 and late 2023, when the pandemic was still sort of going on, and the car manufacturers, remember, they had to kind of start and stop, and they lost a lot of their employees. And so you had a lot of people going in making cars that weren't proficient at it. And we saw more recalls in the last 2.5 years on all vehicles across the board than at any other time in history of cars. Yeah. So you want to, if you are looking at getting a car, even if it's used, personally, I would avoid 2021 to 2023 at all costs.
Just based on what information you've parsed through with your podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, when it comes to, we got another question on our text line. Well, we have you here, Heather, and there's nowhere for you to go but the traffic center. Somebody texted in and said, to the point about interest, that used car interest rates are going to be higher than new car interest rates. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, they typically are. It's sort of a way for dealers to get people in the door with new cars, because they want to sell those new cars. They're higher priced, and even if you're only paying 1.99 or 2.5% interest on that, they're still going to get a lot of interest off of a higher priced new car. Whereas a used car is going to be, like you said, on average $20,000 lower, even if it's a higher interest rate, which typically it's about the same.
Heather Kelly, thank you so much. I love hearing your stories. You have such great advice. Money Making Sense, a great podcast you can follow. Let's jump out to Jennifer in Kaysville. Jennifer, have you come down on the used car or new car side of things yet?
We have always bought used cars, but I wanted to talk about a specific thing. We have a truck that's a 2001. It is awesome. Pulls our trailer, does really great. But what's happening with the older cars is they're being moved out of the market because of emissions. Each year, they're getting tougher and tougher. And even though we only drive this truck in the summer to pull our trailer, we're held to the same emission standards as the commuter cars. So
well, that's true.
it's
Efficiency has gotten so much better, and the emission standards have improved over the years. Yeah, I had a 2001 truck as well. I know exactly what you're talking about. Hummed along, works great. But yeah, there's some emission issues.
I have a story, doesn't have to do with emissions, but I needed a new bumper for one of my used cars, and the car was so old, they were at the scrapyard trying to find the bumper. Heather, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I
a
have
new bumper.
Not so much about a bumper, but yeah, I've had to go to places like that because mine's a 2000.
Yeah,
you know, Toyota.
Those
so
parts aren't around easily
no,
getting.
most of them aren't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I stumbled into that. And the car at the time when this happened was about 11 years old, and they pretty much stopped manufacturing many of the models. And so yeah, they had to go over to the scrapyard and find one that was less damaged than the bumper on my car that I had damaged. It was a one-car accident during a snowstorm. I spun out on like 2300 East going back home on Christmas Eve, like you do. You know, you're getting home from the gym on Christmas Eve, you spun out. And I spun out and I slid in my car backwards and then spun in a donut and then spinning forward all the way in. And I made it into the parking lot. Does everybody live up there? You know where the Reams is. I made it into the parking lot. And Dave and Heather, no kidding, the minute I got into the parking lot, my car went and it like took out like onto the curb, up and over the curb, and took out the whole front bumper. I thought I was safe. Like I made it, and then nope. Water from the windshield wiper fluid started spewing everywhere. But by golly, finding that bumper became the biggest headache.
It is. It's very difficult because, you know, they want to encourage you to buy new cars. I get that, and standards are changing. And Jennifer, yeah, thank you. I'm not sure they're going to lessen the emission standards, even though you don't drive it often. I can't imagine them making changes to that. But anyway, thank you so much for the call.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Several firefighters recovering after responding to a garage fire in Riverton over the weekend. Crews say they were able to get the fire out, but it reignited with some flammable liquids in the garage. Crew members' protective gear actually caught fire fighting the flames, but it was quickly put out. The cause of that fire under investigation. BYU has climbed higher in the AP college football poll after last weekend's rivalry game. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more on where the Cougars stand.
BYU went into Rice-Eccles Stadium ranked 9th overall on the AP ranking and the college football playoff ranking, but they jumped up to 7th on the AP after their dramatic win over their longtime rivals. This places BYU as the highest-ranked Big 12 conference team in the nation and the only conference team to be in the top 10.
The Cougs face Kansas this weekend. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 7 named storms have hit the U.S. Gulf Coast this hurricane season, but there's one nobody has to worry about now. Hurricane Rafael has been downgraded to a post-tropical remnant, expected to dissipate today. Rafael, though, did lash parts of Cuba before it fizzled out. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up now on the day, 348 points. The NASDAQ is down 30. And a KSL weather. Going to get colder tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about my Connecticut water system, soft water system, is how efficient it is. Now, with many soft water systems, if you have a busy morning of showers and laundry and dishes, you can actually run out of soft water by the end of the day, and then you're not reaping any of those benefits. You got to wait for it to recharge. Typically, that happens at 2 o'clock in the morning where the soft water system kicks on and recharges. But with the Connecticut soft water system, you get 24/7 soft water. All you have to do is remember to throw a little salt in the bin. And because it's so highly efficient, you use 1/3 as much salt as everybody else. So instead of throwing 3 bags in there, you only have to throw 1 bag of salt into the bin, and it will save your back a little bit as well. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to Connecticut. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer, 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or, of course, you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
I'm Paul. I'm a contractor. I had a tax problem that was pretty significant. Needed some help with the IRS. I had prepared my taxes for a few years, but when I went to file them, I didn't have any money to pay those taxes. And so I just filed the returns in my drawer and went about my business. And about 3 years went by when I did that, and pretty soon I owed $102,000. And I met with Jordan, and we talked about the hole I dug myself into. And from start to finish, the process was encouraging, supportive, saved me about $80,000, $102,000 to $22,000. No complaints.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit taxhelput.com to schedule your free consultation.
The relief is immeasurable.
That's taxhelput.com.
This holiday season, join the Bells at Temple Square for their annual fall concert, A Season of Ringing. Friday and Saturday, November 22nd and 23rd at the historic Tabernacle on Temple Square in downtown Salt Lake City. This 32-member handbell choir concert will feature some of your favorite holiday songs, A Charlie Brown Christmas, Joy to the World, Sleigh Bells, and many more. This is a free concert, but tickets are required. Log on to thetabernaclechoir.org. That's thetabernaclechoir.org to claim your free tickets. The Bells at Temple Square Annual Fall Concert, A Season of Ringing, November 22nd and 23rd. Get your free tickets now at thetabernaclechoir.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Our worst delays right now are over on Mountain View Corridor. They are northbound as you make your way between Daybreak Parkway and South Jordan Parkway. And that can be typical, but usually not this time of the morning. And then as you continue north, you're going to see a bit more delay right around 4100 south, where we do have lane restrictions in place till about 3:30 this afternoon while crews do some work there. Everybody else, though, for the most part, you're at freeway speeds. You might see a little bit of slowing from time to time northbound 15 through Midvale, where we also have the right lane blocked. Attention Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Don't wait for bad weather to schedule professional snow service with GoPave Utah. Your complete parking lot safety starts with GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have a warm day before a storm moves in tomorrow. 66 today's high, 43 tomorrow. Then mostly dry and in the 50s through the rest of the week. Right now, 57 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
If somebody you love gives you a call and says, I know what you can get me for Christmas, or know what you can get me for Hanukkah, don't be surprised if they ask for a dash cam for their car, because of the video that has gone viral on the internet of a woman who captured on her dash cam a man, or a car full of people actually, and now a man has been charged in this, who stop in front of her on a expressway or beltway in New York and stop the car and then proceed to back up into her. Dave, you saw the video. What did you think?
You described it perfectly. It's exactly what happened. Is this woman is following this car. The car comes to a complete stop, and she's confused. She's on the phone talking to her boyfriend, and she's like, what is going on? Because this car just stopped on the freeway. And then you see the tail light, or the reverse lights turn on, those white lights that turn on. And she's like, what is going on here? And they literally reverse and speed into her front bumper and crash. So it looks like she rear-ended them. It's exactly what it looks like.
Like it was her fault.
That it was her fault. But the dash cam video shows that it was a clear setup, that they, throw it in reverse and then smash it, and then they get out. And again, this is all captured on camera. They get out and they're like, "You rear-ended me." Like, oh,
and
wait.
And the car full of people have their iPhones out.
Yep.
Videoing the damage.
Total setup.
But let's take you inside the car of the victim. She's got the dash cam. I'm not sure the people driving the car that have now been accused of this, what they're calling an insurance scam, knew she had a dash cam, but they picked the wrong person. Is all caught on camera, not only the video, but the audio of her while she was on the phone talking to her boyfriend as she was driving on the Beltway in New York.
Oh my God.
What happened, babe?
Oh my God, what is he doing? Babe!
Babe, what happened?
I don't know.
Babe.
I got into an accident. Oh my God. Oh my God,
Where are
babe.
you?
I'm on the Bell Parkway. This guy just reversed into me. What the hell's going on?
Reversed into you?
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, I'm shaking.
My God. Babe.
Yeah.
Just stay there. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Where on the Bell Parkway?
After that turn?
Yeah.
Oh my
Babe,
God.
it's okay.
Yes, it was so strange to watch this unfold because they jump out. Again, several people jump out and they're recording the whole thing. And it does, I guess this is all allegedly, a total setup. But as you're watching it, thank goodness for the dash cam video because, Debbie, just looking at the damage of the vehicle, it looks like she had rear-ended them. Like the damage, you can't differentiate.
The video is classic. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's gone viral on social media. And now at least one individual has been charged in what they're calling an insurance scam, including staging a motor vehicle accident, criminal mischief, reckless endangerment, conspiracy, and insurance fraud. That's one. I think they're looking for the other people who were in the car that may have been involved. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas live on the line. Greg, couple of questions here. First of all, this dash cam is amazing. Not all of us have a dash cam, so what do we do if we don't have a dash cam and something like this happens to us?
Well, that's a great question. You're right. The dash cam made all the difference in the world in this case, and it will almost certainly prove, well, it does prove to anyone who watched it that this was nothing but an insurance scam and a reckless endangerment. I mean, they hit her going pretty fast. But I also think the police have really good forensics, and I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but they can tell which direction cars were moving when there was a collision. In other words, if her car is stopped and she's smashed into from the front, her skid marks are going to go backwards a little bit, you know what I mean, which you wouldn't expect from a rear-end collision. So I think police can, if you sit down and tell the police exactly what happened and exactly what you remember and have them do an investigation right then, right on the spot while the cars are still in the place they should be and the broken glass is in a certain place, that a good forensic accident reconstructionist by a police officer can almost certainly figure this out. But again, hindsight's 20/20. We don't often think about that at the time we're in an accident.
Greg, one thing that I experienced here in Salt Lake, had a little fender bender where someone sideswiped me, is we called the police and I asked them to come out, and they said, "Oh, we don't investigate those. Unless someone was injured, it was just a little fender bender. We're not going to go out there." And it ended up being a problem between a he said situation with the insurance companies.
Yeah, and that's a problem because if you look, when you're on some of these narrow roads, there'll be a sign that says, fender bender, move off to the side of the road. You know, deal with it. Get the exchange information, exchange driver's license and insurance information and deal with it, because police don't have time, especially on days when there's bad weather. But even in situations during rush hour when there's just a fender bender, get the information and move on. But I think if you're in an accident and you feel at all uncomfortable about the other person, you could wait for the police. You can call 911. You can photograph whatever you need, and continue to call 911 and say, look, I think this is more than just a fender bender, and hopefully somebody will come out.
Well, certainly, and I think in that case, I would say to the 911 call taker, the operator I was speaking to, like, look, this is really unusual. We're going the speed limit on a freeway. They stopped on I stopped in time, then they backed up and bashed into the front end of my car, and now we've exchanged information, but they've left the scene. It's so unusual that it does feel like an insurance scam. I would actually use those words, that you want a cop to come to the scene and take a report and document everything. Take your own photographs too. Of course, thankfully, she wasn't injured to the point where she couldn't help, do that. But still, I think you just have to be so specific with the 911 call taker and the 911 operator, Greg, and just tell them, like, look, I think this could be a setup. Because my thought is, who else are they doing this to, Greg?
Right, exactly. And a fender bender is one thing, but somebody intentionally ramming you with a car is going to get a police officer's attention. And if you report it that way, not I was just in a fender bender, but somebody just intentionally rammed me with their vehicle.
Yes, you're right.
And I think it's part of an insurance scam. You'll get some attention. And in this case, it was lucky, like you say, that the dash cam was there. But I would say if you're ever in a situation like that where you're uncomfortable about something that's happening with the other driver, call the police and make sure that they understand that you feel something more is going on.
Greg Skordas, thank you so much for joining us, our KSL legal analyst. I think that's some excellent tips because I've experienced this where cops are like, nah, it's a fender bender, just exchange information. But if you feel like something is amiss, if you think this is insurance fraud, then you can insist that somebody come out, and you may have to wait a minute, but I like the insistence.
I love the idea of a dash cam, though. I love the idea of a dash cam. I might be asking for one for you, Dave, for Christmas. That's what you can give me for Christmas. 801-575-TALK. Love to hear from listeners. I know a lot of you have dash cams. I know a lot of you have dash cams in your car. Has it helped you in some way, shape, or form? Prove your case. 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Dash cam lovers and users. I look forward to your live calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Well, finally, you can really feel fall in the air. The weather is confirming it, and that means that the holidays are just around the corner. It is not too early to get into the Western Nut Company and take care of all of the things you're going to need for the holiday season. Taking care of your company employees, your clients, personal gifts for those in the neighborhood. The Western Nut Company has been a tradition now for over a half a century. For our family, it just wouldn't be the Christmas season without Western Nut. You can choose from an amazing assortment of the finest nuts the world has to offer, all roasted and packaged and ready to go right there at their flagship store in downtown Salt Lake City, 434 South on 3rd West. And then soon we'll be looking for the kiosks. You can call, you can go online. It's the Western Nut Company, the perfect place for your gifts this upcoming holiday season. Don't forget, it's not too early to get into the Western Nut Company now.
Join Trucordia and Amanda Dixon at their special ribbon-cutting event Friday from 1 to 3. That's going to be in Linden. Come celebrate Trucordia's new brand and new office and more. Trucordia in Linden.
A high school sport is hitting pay dirt across the country.
The largest teams in the nation are all here in Utah.
Fierce competition is bringing in big bucks.
$1.87 million to our county.
To small Utah towns.
It turns into a mini city. Every hotel will be full.
Why small towns all over Utah are investing in big plots of dirt.
They would have never come here otherwise.
KSL gives you the inside track on Mountain Bike Mania, pedaling tourism, tonight at 10.
Is your home ready for the holidays?
Before your guests arrive, go with the pros at Zerorez. Carpet, tile, upholstery, air ducts, Zerorez does it all. Don't trust just anybody. Zerorez has a 4.9 rating on Google. Beat the holiday rush and call the cleaning heroes today. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $119. And take 20% off upholstery cleaning by calling 801-288-9376. Or book online anytime at Zerorez.com and mention the KSL special. Backward or forward, it's the right way to clean. Zerorez.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, firefighters dealt with dangerous, flammable liquids as they tried to put out a house fire in Riverton. Second, the BYU Cougars ranked 7th in the country after their last-second victory over Utah. And third, Hurricane Rafael dissipating before it hits the U.S. Gulf Coast. 57 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Talk about this really wild story out of the state of New York where a woman is just driving along. She's on the Beltway in New York. And then a car kind of swerves in front of her, stops on a dime, and then throws it in reverse and smashes into her. It would seem, if she didn't have dash cam video of it, she had a dash cam in her car, that she had caused a rear-end accident, when in reality is the guy is now accused by prosecutors of staging a motor vehicle accident and insurance fraud, who threw it in reverse and smushed into her car.
What happened, babe?
Oh my God, what is he doing? Babe!
Babe, what happened?
I don't know.
Babe.
I got into an accident.
And another layer to this, Debbie, which makes it feel even more like a setup, and even you could add some intimidation factor to this. As soon as that happens, they throw it in reverse, they smash into the car or the truck. 4 people exit the car. So the one that threw it in reverse and backs up into the vehicle, 4 people jump out of the car, and then another car pulls off to the side, and there's people that are jumping in. It is this entire like moving parts and chaos. And I don't know if that's in part what they're trying to do is capitalize on the chaos and the intimidation. But this poor woman who's experiencing this, that doesn't know exactly what's going on, your mind's trying to process, am I at fault? You can even hear her say, I just got in an accident. Well, it wasn't you. This person backed up into you. You had nothing to do with it.
But to your point, she's in shock.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know what's going on. She also thinks, according to news reports, that perhaps this is some sort of road rage incident happening, so she's scared to death. She has, however, this dash cam video. She puts it on social media. It goes viral. It turns out that prosecutors do file charges, at least against one individual, and they're looking for the others. They actually exchanged information, according to the report. So she had some sort of exchange of information, whether it's insurance information or phone numbers. But it's just, there's so many different levels to this. First of all, you're scared to death. You don't know what is happening. You just witnessed something, and now they're trying, the people in the other car probably trying to make you feel like it was your fault. And then there's this layer of this dash cam, which is very intriguing to me. because I wouldn't mind getting one of these things, but I don't know how much it actually captures. Like, am I going to be sitting there looking through 75 hours of video I don't ever need to prove anything? You know what I mean? Like,
I can break down some of those for you.
Okay, is it just one of those really cool things you have on your dash cam, but you never really,
no one knows how to use it,
but you never really need it? Yeah.
Hun in Eagle Mountain, we're taking your phone calls right now. Hun, have you had any kind of experience with dash cams?
Yeah, I was parked in the parking lot. My dash cam, it wasn't the crazy scenario that you're talking about being backed up, but I was parked in a shopping center in an angle, and my dash cam activates even when you're parked and the car's off. It has a chargeable battery. It will stay active, and when the car gets felt like something impacted it, it will snap a shot. So it has a front view camera and a back view camera inside the cabin space to capture the windows. So if someone breaks in, they can see it. I happened to come back, and I found like a 4-foot dent in my front passenger side fender. And there was a shopping cart near it. I'm like, no way. So I played it back, and sure enough, the lady who got out, put her cart there, pushed it, and it rolled down and hit my car. And I waited for the lady to come out, and the woman was being super combative right off the bat. It wasn't me. How dare you? And I said, look, I just want your insurance. I have it on camera. Once I proved it to her, she wasn't going to give it to me. I was going to call the cops. Like, I'm not here to, like, strike up an argument or get violent with this lady. But she was being super combative, like screaming at the top of her lung, making a scene, trying to intimidate me in the moment. I said, I can call the cops and they can get the report where we can exchange information and force us to do it, or you can just give it to me. Once she saw the footage and she saw the cart being pushed by her and it rolled down and hit my car, she was like, here's information. But had it been not for that dash cam,
right,
I would have just talked to my insurance, and guess what? That they see that as a 50-50. Like, well, did you park in your shopping carts? Did you move the shopping cart? They don't automatically take your side. That's not the way the insurance company works.
Right. I actually have an instance of that I want to explain in just a second, Hun. But I want to ask you, I'm just as fascinated by this. Is this all playing out like in your car? Is she looking at the video in your car? Or do you have a monitor?
Right outside. Mine's is attached with a Velcro. So I detached it, showed it to her, and she was like shocked that it captured in detail.
This is amazing.
I'm like, hey, it's 4K, girl. Like, you can see your face, man. Like, every detail. You can even see what hat you're wearing. Like, you want to go there? Like, thank goodness. And the cool thing about, you had a question, you don't want to see 72-hour footage? Well, when the accident happens on high-end cameras, they tend to literally snap a shot, and it'll save the 3 to 5 seconds before the accident to kind of review right away.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to. And word to the wise for many people who have dash cams, make sure you have the app on your phone so you can immediately see it rather than trying to fumble around with it when the accident happens, because that's the worst thing you can do to prepare yourself. Make sure you have the ability to know how to use the dash cam, not just plug it, power it up, and hopefully you figure it out when the accident happens. Trust me, your mindset will not be there when you have that accident.
Hun, you ended up being the absolute perfect person to talk about this. How much did it cost you, and was the installation expensive, or was it difficult?
No. Well, for my wife's car, I had it installed professionally at a car audio video shop, and they charged me about $100 to do it right. On my car, it's kind of like the wires hanging through the middle. I don't really care. It's plugged into the cigarette lighter port. The dash cam can range, honestly, a decent one with 1080p resolution, which is considered high def. I don't know if that even makes sense, but high def, but a lower resolution will run you anywhere between 50 to about 75. You want to get a 4K one, which shows the inside cabin space, outside, and all angles, like almost 180 side to side. You're talking about $300, but it's well worth it. I mean, you're spending money on Ring for your home and surveillance systems for the exact same reason. You want footage to protect yourself, just in case. Because worst case scenario, like that woman who got backed up and hit the car on that New York highway, they could have just literally tried to sue. And from the appearance of it, I guarantee you it would have been like, oh, you're totally at fault, and now you're fighting in court for months trying to prove your case.
Yeah,
without a lawyer,
it's
not worth it.
Hun, you're absolutely right on that. You think about all of the civil action that could have happened as a result of that. Now prosecutors are going after the individual and the individuals who have allegedly done this and intentionally, they say, backed up into her And to your point about it becomes a he said, she said. Well, I had a mishap. It was, I won't call it a crash, but it was an accident in a parking lot. I was stepping out of my vehicle. My vehicle was parked. I was driving. You put it in park, you turn off your car, and then you exit your vehicle, right, like you do, and then you open your door. Well, somebody pulls into the stall next to me, and they slam into my driver's side door. And I thought it just about took it off. Anyway, the both insurance companies just decided to just call it even, that we would both have, I don't want to say it was necessarily like legally that I was at fault and the other driver was at fault, but basically it was like even, you both deal with it and fix it. I don't know if I would have had a dash cam if it would have changed anything, but I certainly didn't feel like I was at fault stepping out of my car.
How dare you get out of your car, Deb?
At a store with a parking stall and many other parking stalls.
You're so unreasonable.
What an incredible lesson we just learned from our caller. Hun, thank you so much.
Hun is the foremost expert on dash cams. We couldn't have talked to a better person in America. Hun, thank you. Call every day.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Salt Lake County leaders looking to divert $10 million to go toward a project to knock down and rebuild the Salt Palace. This is part of the plan to overhaul the 2 blocks to the east of the Delta Center. Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson's Chief of Staff, Andrew Roberts, tells KSL TV this will cost at least $1 billion, so they want to use this $10 million to help lock down a bond for the project.
We need to rebuild it, and then there's an opportunity on the table to not just rebuild what we have, but rebuild it better.
Roberts says there are several steps they need to use this money for the project, including getting the legislature to sign off. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. An AP history teacher is on administrative leave at a high school in Southern California for his anti-Trump remarks after President-elect Trump's win in the election last week. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
His comments, secretly recorded, have gone viral online.
Why did he win?
Now that teacher has been pulled out of the classroom for using profanity and making strong anti-Trump remarks while addressing his students a day after the election. The district saying it wants an inclusive learning environment. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average now 288 points up since the start, and the NASDAQ down 63 points right now. Our KSL weather, warm today, but storm moves in tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Really excited to make sure that you tune in today at 1 o'clock from 1 to 3 for Inside Sources. KSL will walk you through this historic political season, starting today with our panel of political experts each day from 1 to 3. So make sure you join Utah's top political insiders and campaign advisors who will join Inside Sources, and they're going to take you through the first 100 days of the new Trump administration.
For the last 27 years, we've been honored to serve our community as the highest rated home medical supplier in Utah. Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. Our commitment to exceptional customer service is at the heart of everything we do, and our team is always here to make sure you get the care and products you need. Whether it's oxygen solutions, CPAP supplies, or expert home safety advice, we do it all. As a Best in State winner for the last 14 years, and highest rated on Google, Alpine Home Medical is not just a provider, we're a trusted partner in your healthcare journey. So swing by any of our 11 locations today and experience firsthand what makes Alpine Home Medical a 5-star experience. See us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Rescue, redemption, recovery, re-entry. That's what happens at the rescue mission of Salt Lake City.
My name's India.
My name is Kelly.
So I was a heroin addict.
I was living in my car.
Then I decided it was time that I got help.
You don't know what to expect.
The rescue mission of Salt Lake does not accept any federal, state, or city funding. Everything is wholly supported through your generous tax-deductible contributions, along with donations of our friends and supporters.
You have a bed. You have a shower. We get everything that we need.
87% of every dollar goes to the rescue mission services. The other 13%, hard costs to run the mission building itself.
Like I have that hope now.
Thank goodness.
From the recovery program to a place to lay your head at night, and meals served every morning, afternoon, and evening all year long, as well as food boxes for families in need. The rescue mission needs our help.
Like a new life, that newfound hope.
That's what I'm grateful for.
Find out how at rescuesaltlake.org.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi, my entire family's obsessed with all things Wicked, but my kids can't stop watching the trailer, and now they're having a Wicked-themed sleepover. Do you think our internet can handle all of the streaming and memeing going on?
Well, we've engineered our Xfinity gateways to handle hundreds of devices at once, so they can all stay magically connected.
Wow. Are you a wizard?
I wish. No, just someone that won't let a bad connection burst your internet bubble. Now through December 31st, get Thrillifyingly fast Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 12 months when you add unlimited mobile. And get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 a month value included at no extra cost. Or lock in your internet price for 2 years for just $5 more a month with a 1-year contract. Early termination fee applies. Go to Xfinity.com to learn more and keep the magic going from your screen to the big screen. And see Wicked, only in theaters November 22nd. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless plan and auto-pay with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Some issues on Mountain View Corridor right now. This is at the intersection of 4100 South Mountain View Corridor. Now, the traffic lights are not working on the southbound side of Mountain View Corridor. So anybody going east or west over Mountain View, they're having to treat this whole thing as a 3-way stop for the southbound east and west. But it looks like the northbound side of Mountain View Corridor is fine, so you don't have any issues there. On top of that, we have a disabled semi-southbound Mountain View Corridor just before you get to that traffic light that isn't working, and there's road construction in the area, so it's causing a bit of delay. And you may just want to avoid Mountain View Corridor between 35 and 4100 South for the moment. This holiday season, Murdoch Hyundai is grateful for you. Celebrate during the Murdoch Hyundai Season of Giving sales event. Receive 0% for 4 years on the Elantra, Sonata, Tucson, or Santa Fe. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have a warm day before the storm moves in tomorrow. 66 today, 43 with rain showers tomorrow. Mostly dry and in the 50s through the rest of the week. And right now, 61 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, at the end of the rivalry game on Saturday night, it was the Utes who drew the foul, the holding foul. But after the game, it was their athletic director, Mark Harlan, who drew the fine after comments he made about the Utes' loss to the Cougs.
This game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight.
Debbie, can I play the call, the play-by-play call from that holding? And I want you to listen to this. Greg Wrubell had the call for the BYU radio. he does not sound, he's like not jumping up and down and celebrating as if BYU won the game. Listen to it and kind of how reserved Rubel is. Surprised, but reserved.
Because at this point, BYU is trailing the Utes just toward the end of the game.
Go
ahead, Dave.
They're 91 yards away from the end zone. They're trailing 21-19. BYU is on their own 9-yard line.
The Cougs need 3 points, but right now they need 10 yards. The line to gain, the 19. Jake Retzloff in the gun. The snap. The back pedal to the goal line. Jake is sacked at the goal line. They will say he was outside the plane. It will not be a safety, but this game is over. And Utah.
There's a flag.
Oh, there's a flag down at the far side of the field. Would it be a hold? Might this be a hold on Utah to keep the game alive? And no one's leaving the field for the BYU offense.
Holding. Defense number 5. Yeah. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
All right, so that flag keeps the game alive. BYU has life. BYU given hope.
They did, and then they end up marching down the field still and kicking a game-winning field goal. Jeremiah Jensen from KSL Television. Jeremiah, again, host of JJ and Alex on the KSL Sports Zone, 97.5. Jer, obviously a huge focus of last night's game. Harlan's comments were so strange to me because we just don't see athletic directors afterwards just jump in front of cameras and microphones and unleash.
Dave, I've been doing this for 20 years, as you know, and I've never seen anything like it. It was pretty wild. I've never seen an athletic director go out on a field of play yelling at an official while the game's in progress. It was pretty nuts. Mark Harlan was very upset. He felt he needed to say what he said, and we've seen it all transpire since then. You all know about the $40,000 fine. You know what the Big 12 said. You know what he said in response to the fine. While acknowledging he could have gone about it a better way, he did not apologize for what he said. So, yeah, Dave, it's pretty wild. I've never seen anything like it, but you can tell that there's a massive amount of frustration on the Utah side of things right now, and I don't think it has to do with just the game.
Well, JJ, the Big 12 commissioner said something to the effect of there are appropriate and inappropriate ways to voice concerns. And the conference prioritizes professionalism, integrity, and fairness. So does it end with the fine and the public statement that the Big 12 made?
Yes. Yeah, it does. And that's the way of the Big 12 making the statement to him that we're not going to tolerate that. And Mark Harlan's not he's a smart guy. He's in this position for a reason. He knows what he's doing. And I'm sure that there's a lot of emotion in what he's doing. But ultimately, he understands how this whole process works, and he's understanding what the Big 12 is doing and what he's doing. And so it's not going to go any further than that. I don't think this is a thing where they're going to make it any bigger a deal than it is. Is there going to be some discussions behind the scenes about Big 12 officiating that Mark Harlan's going to have with the commissioner? I'm sure there will be. There is every year. And guess what? Every team are going to have that conversation. So you don't think Kalani Sitake's had his issues with some calls, and Tom Holmoe, and there's 16 teams in the conference, so they're all going to have their say about officiating. But as far as this incident goes, I think the fine and the public statements on both sides kind of put it to rest.
Well, as you had mentioned, Jer, one of the things that I think we sometimes forget is we saw the Mark Harlan yelling at the referees, Kyle Whittingham after the game yelling at the referees, but at halftime, it was Kalani Sitake that was yelling at the referees
Yes.
as they're going off. So it was a little bit equal opportunity offenders. Does it diminish or lessen the accomplishment at all? I mean, we're obviously talking more about this versus BYU winning the game, making that final drive, staying undefeated. Does this taint the victory for BYU at all or take away from it?
Oh, I think that there's going to be some people, even some objective observers, that say, I don't know if that should have been a hold. I think BYU got away with one here. And guess what, guys? We're going to find out on Tuesday when the college football playoff rankings come out. What does the committee think of what happened on Saturday night? Does the way BYU had to win that game, does that impact their college football playoff rankings? So to your question, Dave, that certainly could impact things on that side of things. And you look at Utah. I think that Saturday night, the frustration from Utah wasn't just about the holding call. It wasn't just about the result of that game. This program has a 5-game winning streak. What BYU is doing right now at 9-0 and in the college football playoff rankings is what Utah was supposed to do this year, and they're not. And they've seen this gap that existed for 10 years between these two programs completely close. And I think that is a culmination of all the frustration you saw on Saturday night. This is a Utah program that's really not in a situation they thought they were going to be in. And I think that there's a lot of frustration with where they're at. And I think that you saw that play out on Saturday night. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things with the fallout of what is this game going to be. How does it impact the college football rankings? How does this impact Utah's football program moving forward? What is their reaction to now losing 2 straight in the rivalry, losing 5 straight this year, and seeing BYU elevate their program while their program has gone the other direction?
Yeah, it's one thing to lose. It's also another thing to lose to your rival. And
yes.
As we have seen over the years, those are totally different things. You can lose a game, but losing to your rival has a completely different meaning to it. Jeremiah Jensen, thanks, Jared. Look forward to listening to you and Alex later on today on KSL Sports Zone 97.5.
I do want to point out, if you missed our earlier coverage of this, we did read the statement from Mark Harlan. He addressed his comments on Sunday. Of course, the comments were made Saturday night after the Utes lost to the Cougs. He came back on Sunday and said, my comments came after having just left our team locker room where our student athletes were hurting and upset. The University of Utah is proud to be a member of the Big 12 Conference, and we look forward to working with our peers to continue to enhance the league. BYU, Coach Sataki, and their coaches and student athletes are having a terrific season, and we wish them the very best.
Yeah, that apology, it surprised me that it wasn't more detailed. He said that this game was absolutely stolen, that he's not excited about being with the Big 12, that it was not fair, that he was disgusted by the professionals. That apology, and I'll air quote the apology, it wasn't as detailed as I expected. I thought he would have to retract essentially all the statements talking about how it was stolen. He didn't reference whether or not that game was stolen. He didn't reference about how fair the game was. It surprised me that it was, quite frankly, as generic as it was.
Straight ahead, we're going to go in depth. We know that the Republican Party has taken the Senate back in Congress, but who will gain control of the House? We'll get an in-depth look at where things are shaking out right now for the House. Straight ahead.
Dave and Dujanovic. A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Macy's Harvest of Hope is it's to help children and families that are struggling with food insecurity in their neighborhoods. You may not realize this, but about 1 in 11 individuals here in Utah, not somewhere else, but here in Utah, 1 in 11 folks are struggling with food insecurity. They're not quite sure where that next meal is going to come. So Macy's Harvest of Hope wants to address that. They have a goal of raising $200,000 for this food drive to help those children in Utah that are struggling with food insecurity. There's a number of ways you can do it. One of the easiest ways is just go into Macy's, and you can make a donation there. And the staples is really where this money is going toward. The peanut butter, mac and cheese, chili, some of the box meals that are so easy and can feed a family. And you can make those contributions at Macy's. It's the Harvest of Hope. Just go ahead and ask folks about that. Like, hey, how can we do this? You can also make a donation online. Just go to Macys.com/online. You can make the donation for Macy's Harvest of Hope at Macys.com/online.
The Cougars are on the march.
Touchdown!
For an undefeated season.
LJ with the TD.
The 9-0 Cougars are 3 wins away from the Big 12 championship game and a bid to the college football playoffs. Call in to Cougar Nation tonight from 6 to 7 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
I served my country honorably in the Marine Corps, and for almost 3 decades, I've dedicated my life to serving you. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth. I met my incredible wife on a blind date at Camp Lejeune. She also served in the Marines. My son, an Air Force veteran, and my daughter are on our team. I'm sharing this because Trajan Wealth is more than just a business. It's our family's legacy based on trust and integrity. We're here to manage your money and fight for your dreams. Our fiduciary duty is to put your needs first, always. If you have an old 401k collecting dust, or if your current advisor isn't meeting your needs, let's talk. At Trajan Wealth, we're ready to take on your retirement challenges one at a time. Honor the sacrifices of those who served by taking action for your future. Call us today.
801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
A high school sport is hitting pay dirt across the country.
The largest teams in the nation are all here in Utah.
Fierce competition is bringing in big bucks,
$1.87 million to our county,
to small Utah towns.
It turns into a mini city. Every hotel will be full.
Why small towns all over Utah are investing in big plots of dirt.
They would have never come here otherwise.
KSL gives you the inside track on mountain bike mania, pedaling tourism, tonight at 10.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Salt Lake County ready to put $10 million toward a plan to tear down and rebuild the Salt Palace that could ultimately cost $1 billion. Second, a teacher in California went on a tirade after former President Trump won the election. Now he's been put on leave. And third, hunters aren't being allowed to donate meat from game animals to Utah food banks. 61 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Your voice, your vote, 2024. The control of Congress. In-depth coverage on KSL News Radio.
Well, we haven't talked about this for a couple of days. Because quite frankly, at the end of last week, we weren't quite sure how things were shaping up when it comes to the control of the House. We know that Republicans have taken the Senate, obviously. President-elect Donald Trump, a Republican, will take the Oval Office come January. But we're still not quite sure how things are shaping up on the House side of it.
Well, and this is absolutely crucial for Donald Trump's presidency. If you have control of the White House, the Senate, and the House, that radically changes, I think, your first 100 days in office. So obviously, very clear, the Republicans took the Senate, obviously takes the White House, just waiting on the House right now.
Jim Curry, professor of political science at the University of Utah. Good morning.
Good morning.
We know this is your specialty, is Congress. So can you bring us up to speed on what you're seeing and how things are shaking out for the House?
Yeah, it looks like Republicans will probably hold on to a narrow majority in the House. They've been able to hold on to some seats that Democrats kind of pinned their hopes on winning back in order to take back control of the chamber. Of course, they've lost some others, but it seems like when the votes are done being counted, Republicans will probably have a 4 or 5 or 6 seat majority in the House, unless something radically changes about the votes coming in versus the votes that have already been counted.
So it sounds like that 4 or 5 seat majority is about what they had the last go around, right?
Yeah, that's right. You should expect the dynamics in the House to be pretty similar to what they were for the last 2 years.
So let's just play what if. What if the Republicans do keep the House? They have the Senate and obviously the Oval Office. What is the first? Let's not tick through everything of the first 100 days, but what do you anticipate that looking like for the Trump administration when he takes office?
Well, so it's always better to have control of the House and the Senate than to not, right? And it's always better to have more seats with your party than for the other party. But at the same time, like, one of the most fundamental things about our system is that very few things pass through both chambers and become law on a single party basis, with just one party supporting it and the other party opposing it. And that's particularly true when your party holds just really narrow majorities in one or both chambers. And so while it's better for the Trump administration, while it'll help Trump and his allies push a little bit harder on things like taxes or immigration, I think what they're still going to find is that they're not going to be able to achieve their wildest dreams, even with this sort of unified control. The same way the Democrats weren't able to achieve their wildest dreams in the first 100 days or so of the Biden administration, and just like Trump struggled to achieve his wildest dreams back when he first had unified control back in 2017.
Obviously, when we were looking at the Senate, it was Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin that were the irritants to some of the Democrats because they were not just signing off on everything. Who are the equivalents from the Republicans? Who are some of the names that are going to jump to the top of the list of irritants, so to speak, for Republicans?
Yeah. Two that immediately come to mind were two of the irritants that Donald Trump dealt with last time around, which are Susan Collins in Maine and Lisa Murkowski in Alaska. Both of these senators voted against, for instance, the repeal and replace of the Affordable Care Act, joining John McCain to essentially strike it down. They were both hesitant on a lot of other Donald Trump priorities. I don't think that's changed. I think you'll still see both of them be a little bit more hesitant to go along with some of the things that more conservative Republicans want. And if Republicans only have a 2 or 3 seat majority in the Senate, then having those two willing to push back is a problem.
We're speaking live right now with Professor Jim Curry, the University of Utah political science professor, about what is going on in terms of the vote and the makeup of the House of Representatives back in Washington, D.C., the Senate captured by the Republicans, and, of course, Donald Trump, Republican, we all know that, will retake the Oval Office. He'll be sworn in January. So I want to just go back to something you said just before you answered Dave's question, and that is how difficult it still might be for President-elect Trump to get some of his policies passed through. And then there's been the concern over so much being done by executive order, but do you suspect maybe he might find himself in that same position that President Biden found himself in early on in his presidency?
Yeah, I think it'll be very similar, right? This is the reality. Unless a president has really big majorities in their party and that party happens to be unified around a bunch of things, two conditions that are rarely true at the same time, what presidents find is they struggle to get exactly what they want out of Congress. And so they turn to executive action, which is itself kind of limiting because there's a lot you can do if Congress is on board and there's less you can do if you have to go it alone.
When we're looking at immigration, obviously this was a huge point of concern. That this was a very, very big thing on the stump for President Trump. How much influence, having quite honestly a resounding victory, winning the popular vote, sweeping all the battleground states, how much influence does that message have or fall to members of Congress when they say, well, a message was sent that the country has rallied behind these thoughts and these pushes from the president? Does that apply any pressure to the House and Senate?
Maybe ever so slightly. I think the reality that Americans need to understand is that members of Congress largely don't care what the national public opinion is because they don't run nationally, right? They run in their specific districts and their specific states. And so if Trump's priorities or his message or the party's priorities and message are popular in their district or popular in their state, they'll get behind it. But if those things are not popular among the people that they actually have to win over in terms of voters, then they won't. And so this is where Susan Collins becomes a problem for Republican majorities in the Senate, just like Joe Manchin was a problem for Democratic majorities. Maine has gone for the Democratic nominee for the last several elections. Those are the same people as Susan Collins has to win over as a senator from Maine. And so if Donald Trump's priorities, if his message, if his agenda isn't popular with Mainers, Susan Collins isn't going to be super excited to support it. And that's true for every single member, which makes it harder to sort of get the Congress, even members of your own party, to line up in lockstep behind you when you're a president. And then if you really have a small margin for error, this doesn't mean you're not going to get things done, and it doesn't mean you're not going to have some successes, but it's going to be a lot harder than it seems right after the election.
Jim Curry, thank you so much for joining us, a professor of political science up at the University of Utah.
Yeah, we'll continue to watch that because not every vote has been counted yet. We're still waiting on some of the races. I don't think we asked him what races specifically that he's looking for. The 18 races still technically uncalled by the Associated Press. We're looking at races in Colorado, Alaska, Arizona, California, several races in California that still have yet to be called. So we'll continue to keep an eye on what's happening with the House of Representatives. Also want to make a programming note. Super excited about Inside Sources today, hosted starting at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3, by Greg Skordas and Taylor Morgan. They're going to be looking into split ticket voting. I've been really curious about how how voters were thinking once they opened their ballots, because you got former President-elect Donald Trump winning in Arizona, but then on the flip side of that, so did a Democratic senator. At this point, at least, a Democrat is projected to win that Senate seat. Same thing in Wisconsin. So they're going to be looking into what prompts people to choose a Republican president, but then turn around and vote for a Democrat for Congress. We're going to be listening to Inside Sources today from 1 until 3. So make sure you tune in for Taylor and Greg Skordas as they tackle that hefty topic of you vote for Republican for president, but you decide that you don't want a Republican in Congress representing you. Straight ahead, gotta look and see where we're going.
The AG's calendar.
That's right. 2-year battle for transparency is ended with Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes turning over his work calendar to the KSL Investigative team. The KSL Investigative team joining us straight ahead to let us know what they see on the calendar.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. University of Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan has been fined $40,000 for criticizing the officiating in the Utes' loss to BYU. Harlan has since responded saying he accepts the consequences of his decision and he is proud that the U has become part of the Big 12 Conference. Food pantries low on supply this fall. Many hunters would like to donate some of their game meat, but state regulations don't allow it. The manager at Champion Meats, Shane Brown, understands the need for food safety rules, but he says other states have found a way to allow game to be donated while making sure it's safe.
I know Wisconsin, Maine allows it.
Currently, the state only allows USDA stamped food to be donated. In this case, game would need to be killed under inspection to qualify. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Firefighters in Southern California getting a break from the strong winds that pushed the fire over thousands of acres. Cooler temperatures also helping them get ahead of the mountain fire in Ventura County. Evacuation orders have been lifted for homes in that area. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average up on the day right now, 295 points. The NASDAQ is down by 54. And our KSL weather. We've got sunshine and warmer temperatures today. Then it cools right off with rain possible tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Salt Lake City Fat Loss is it really is what they say it is. It's to lose some fat. And when I joined their program back in February, it was with the hope of big results. And sure enough, that's exactly what I saw. I saw 57 pounds fall off of me in about 60 days. And many people will lose 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two. And with the Salt Lake City Fat Loss Program, you do it without surgery. You do it without injections. And I'm not saying it was easy, but it was easier than I had built up in my brain. And I was able to stick with it, and I saw some incredible results. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss by checking them out online. Go ahead and schedule a free consultation. Go to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Bill Riley here with University of Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham. Now tell me, Coach Whitt, what's your philosophy on a winning team?
I believe the key to winning is a strong offensive line. When the linemen do their job, nothing gets through to the quarterback, so he can do his job.
Well, what happens if the linemen don't do their job?
Ouch. You know, Bill, I recently learned that kidneys work like linemen for your body. When your kidneys work, they block poisons and chemicals from your blood.
Coach, I've heard that 1 in 9 Americans have some form of kidney disease. What can we do to fight back?
Join me, Coach Kyle Whittingham, and be part of the winning team against kidney disease. Donate your used car or truck to the Kidney Foundation. Your car will be towed for free, and you'll get a receipt for a tax deduction. Tell them how to do that, Bill.
Donate your car to the Kidney Foundation today and make your car a kidney car. Cars to save lives. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS. That's TOW CARS. Cars with a K. 1-800-TOW-CAR.
Every year, the National Kidney Foundation helps individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Help them out by making your car a kidney car. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
With road work, we still have a right lane blocked northbound on I-15 as you go from Midvale to Murray, about 7,200 to 5,300 south. And we have also had a stalled tractor trailer at the intersection of Mountain View Corridor, 4,100 south. They may continue to alternate traffic. You're able to get through the intersection, and the delays are easing, but watch for that stalled vehicle on the right. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show Saturday and Sunday, November 16th and 17th. The Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have a warm day before a storm moves in tomorrow. 66 the high today, 43 with rain showers tomorrow. Then mostly dry in the 50s through the rest of the week. 63 and sunny right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
In just a couple of seconds, we're going to speak live in studio to the KSL 5 investigative team. Producer Annie Knox, reporter Daniela Rivera in studio with us today, reading this headline this morning, Dave. I'm excited to talk to them about where their investigation has taken them on the topic of Sean Reyes's, the current Attorney General's calendar. There's been a 2-year battle. They said a 2-year battle for transparency ended on Wednesday last week with Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes turning over his work calendar to the KSL investigators. That's the headline I read, and we're going to talk about it more.
Danny, let's walk through some of this, because how common is it for public officials to, announce or give access to their calendar?
incredibly common. It's routine. For instance, the Utah governor releases a schedule for his week every week. And so this actually goes back 2 years ago to November 2022. Annie Knox, our producer, filed a public record request to see what the Attorney General was up to. How was he doing the job for Utahns? Again, November 2022. And we thought that would be something that would be released to us in 10 days, like most record requests. And it actually turned into a legal battle lasting nearly 2 years with our effort to get access to this public record. And during that time, the legislature even changed the law to make calendars not public records in all of this, in what was a really simple request to see what he was up to.
So the laws changed during the time that you are trying to get access to these records of AG Sean Reyes' calendar, but that doesn't impact your request because the law was changed after your request had already been put in. Is that
exactly? It
assessment?
wasn't retroactive. It was, hey, moving forward, Utahns don't get to access these records anymore.
Was there any kind of a reasoning behind it of why he was not releasing the calendar? What was his point of view?
Well, at first, so the state, they denied it twice, and then the State Records Committee said to release it, and then they took us to court. And when asked about that, he said, well, we think essentially, I'm paraphrasing, said, we think the Records Committee got it wrong, and we want a judge to weigh in. We want clarity from a judge on this. Well, a judge weighed in, and a judge said, give them the calendar, and they still fought us after that. So we aren't really sure why there was so much resistance to getting this record. It's still baffling to me.
So last week, Annie, let's bring Annie Knox, the KSL 5 investigative producer, into the conversation. You get 9,000 pages. What's on these 9,000 pages?
We got 9,000 pages because the AG's office decided it wanted to settle. And so we said, great, we are totally open to that. We got 9,165 pages, more than we thought we would. Not just a calendar itself, but invites sent to and from Reyes over the course of 5 years, 2019 through 2023.
Now, obviously, going through 9,165 pages is impossible in such a short time. I know you're weeding through it.
We're doing our best.
You're what, in 2020 so far? How far
Yes.
back? What have you seen? Is there anything you can glean so far that stood out to you?
We have, we've run through, we haven't gone day by day every day yet. We will get there, but we've searched a couple keywords and we've gone through some years. So much of the scrutiny to Reyes in the past couple of years has been because of his ties to Operation Underground Railroad. That's the anti-human trafficking organization that was run by Tim Ballard. He's been accused of sexual misconduct, and he and Reyes were close friends and associates. They worked together, they volunteered together. So we did do a search for Ballard, and we found only 3 meetings over those 5 years. And they were early on in 2019, meetings about human trafficking and how to address it in the state. But there is a reason we think we might not have found more, and that's because, just as a judge said and the State Records Committee said he could do, Reyes withheld appointments that he deemed personal or subject to attorney-client privilege. So we know that there are appointments we're just not getting.
And just to go back on the Ballard issue, he has denied those allegations.
He has denied those allegations repeatedly.
I just want to make sure we pointed that out here in this discussion. I also, in reading your article that's already posted to KSLTV.com about what was in the calendar, there was a trip to Las Vegas that stood out to you. Can you talk more about that?
A trip to Las Vegas after the 2020 election, where Reyes came back, and said that he saw evidence of voting irregularities. He didn't provide detail about that. That trip was not in the calendar, and Reyes has told us in the past he took it on his own time. He did not use taxpayer money. But we were struck, looking through this by what we didn't find as much as what we did find.
So that trip would have been on his own time. Therefore, that's why it wasn't in the calendar.
As far as we can tell, yes. And we have sent his office some questions about what we found so far. They have not answered. One really interesting thing, we saw a lot of these invites were sent to a private Gmail account, SeanReyesCalendar@gmail.com, in addition to his official office account. We weren't expecting that.
How deep?
Go ahead, Dave.
What does that mean? Break it down. Was it a on work time or work during work hours, so to speak? Was it being parsed out like, hey, this goes to my personal email versus my professional email?
We don't know exactly why. There's some appointments that were forwarded to that account or sent to that account, and some that weren't. But what we do know is, he wouldn't be the first public official to be using a Gmail account or a private account in addition to the public one. But it does raise some questions about security and transparency.
Where does the investigation take you from here as you continue to go through those 165 pages? Yeah.
I think, right? I get that number right? 9165.
We are going to keep looking. And, we found some surprises so far. I think we're open to just seeing what's in there. It might not be what we expected. We saw that in 2020, like way before the election, January of that year, he had a meeting in Vegas at a tech conference with former White House Chief of Staff for Donald Trump, John Kelly. So I think we're really curious. That was unexpected. What did they talk about? His office hasn't answered that.
And so the calendar entry doesn't specify what the purpose of the meeting was?
No, it said private breakfast. That's all we know. The great thing about the records that they turned over, we can see who's invited. We can see email addresses. It's not just a title of an entry on a calendar. We have a little bit more information, but we don't have a full picture.
How detailed were these calendars? I would imagine even amongst different people, some probably keep a very meticulous, well-detailed calendar. Others probably, very sparse. How would you, explain this one?
Some entries had a lot more information than others. We don't know if that was strategic. We don't know if in 2019 he ever expected that somebody would ask for, many, many months of his calendar, years. But I think we'll have to just see as we go through. I think it may depend on who his staff was, if that changed, what the information that they would have added. We can see that for a lot of these, just as you would expect, his top staffers were involved, but others not so much.
Daniela, before we let you go, with this new law in place, what do you think that means in terms of transparency? Do you still continue to request and see if a public official on their own will be willing to release a calendar? Or does this law totally stop that?
Well, the law means that effectively Utahns aren't guaranteed access anymore. The legislature and our governor made sure of that. But there's nothing in the law preventing someone from voluntarily releasing their calendar and being transparent with the people that they have asked to select them to represent them. And, I would note that all four of the candidates who ran to replace Reyes said during debate, if I'm elected, I will release my calendar. And so there's nothing stopping elected officials from doing that. But I do think it is Utahns today have a little less transparency in government thanks to what happened as a result of all of this and a reaction by lawmakers to clamp down on this kind of transparency.
If you're interested in following more of this, you can go to the KSLTV.com webpage. There's a little tab that says Investigates, and that's where you can find the great work that Annie Knox and Daniela Rivera has done with the KSL Investigative team following this story. So thank you so much.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And, well, cars do need wheels. They also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, Parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. For over 20 years, the Women's Business Center of Utah has helped women build confidence, create opportunities, and succeed in business. Their 2023-24 annual report shows a record year of impact, detailing milestones and success stories for Utah's women entrepreneurs. Here with more, State Director Anne Marie Wallace.
Utah has one of the most dynamic business communities in the country, with talented women leading in every industry. At WBC-Utah, we're proud that our 2023-2024 annual report reflects more than just the numbers. It represents dreams fulfilled, jobs created, and communities strengthened. This year's milestones include new state funding that helped expand our team and launch outreach efforts, resulting in a major increase in women served. We launched the WBC-Utah Online Academy, featuring 14 self-paced courses, and introduced digital tools that improved by efficiency and the client experience. Plus, we partnered with rural chambers to create 13 new online women's business centers. WBC-Utah has supported over 290 new business starts, had clients in 27 of Utah's 29 counties, and served more than 1,500 Utahns. Not only that, over 1,300 jobs created with over $160 million in revenue across clients.
The businesses that have come to fruition and found success through the Women's Business Center of Utah's resources this past year are driving Utah forward. WBC-Utah has been and will continue to be a catalyst for progress and prosperity throughout our state. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the athletic director at the University of Utah was hit with a big fine for criticizing the officiating in the game with BYU. Second, a break in the Santa Ana winds have helped firefighters get ahead of the big wildfire burning in Southern California. Third, people living between Payson and Santaquin have created a new town. This is called Spring Lake. Right now, 63 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
This is such an important day. It is Veterans Day. And I know many of us who, I'll just say, didn't have the courage or the bravery that our veterans had to either volunteer for a branch of the service or be volunteer like after 9/11 or be drafted when there was a draft. This is our chance to say thank you. And there are services going on all over this nation today. President Biden laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. To services across the state of Utah. And people who've lost their loved ones, veterans since war or in war, paying visits as well today to honor them at their grave sites.
I didn't realize how far back Veterans Day goes. Originally known as Armistice Day, this is World War I. This is 1919. And I think it really speaks. It changed from Armistice Day to Veterans Day back in the 50s to really broaden it out to all veterans, to honor all veterans. But yeah, this goes back obviously more than 100 years. The World War I, the war to end all wars. I wish that were the case, but what a great opportunity for us to take some time and to honor our veterans.
So there's 140,000 veterans in Utah. 16,700 active duty National Guard and Reserve members in the state, and that's according to the Department of Veterans and Military Affairs. 140,000 veterans living in the state of Utah. There'll be some ceremonies. I'll just name a few. 7 o'clock tonight, Utah National Guard concert at the Tabernacle on Temple Square in Salt Lake City. And then 1:30 this afternoon. This one's in St. George. Utah Tech University, a commemoration event this afternoon at 1:30. But can I just be really transparent on this day? What I feel is the most wonderful thing in terms of honoring our veterans that we can do is offer them all kinds of not only prayers and thank yous, but also lots of free stuff.
You like the free stuff.
Give away the farm. Give it to them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's not enough freebies to give away to say thank you for your courage, for your honor, for serving your country, and doing something that I was not willing to do, which is volunteer to serve my country. And I think we have to be really honest about that. There are very few people among us who will stand up, raise their hand, and enlist.
Yes, send me.
You.
Yeah, I love that. I'm with you. I never had the opportunity to serve, but I do. I have great honor for our veterans. I love seeing, as you say, the free stuff.
Yeah.
It's a small little token, obviously, in comparison to the things they do and the sacrifices they're willing to make. But I do love when you see somebody in uniform and they're ordering a coffee or some food, and then you see, oh, it's already been paid for. It's already been taken care of by somebody else. I love seeing that.
That's awesome. So let me just tick through some of these right here. And if you miss it, you can podcast it. Do we have this on KSLNewsRadio.com, you guys? Do we have this list somewhere for our veterans? Okay, we'll try to get this on KSLNewsRadio.com, but you can always podcast this episode right after we get off the air. We'll put the podcast online. You can listen to it. Free haircuts for veterans and active military members at Fellas Barbershop locations. Did you look up where Fellas is? I see there's one in Spanish Fork.
Oh, it's here in Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I see there's one in Spanish Fork. Do we have time behind the scenes, guys, to figure out if there's other locations to Fellas Barbershop? Everybody needs a free haircut, right? I love a free haircut. That's awesome. But I didn't earn it. You did. So go get your free haircut. We're going to get some locations for you right now. Free admission to the Hogle Zoo for veterans, families of fallen soldiers, and service members. So look on the Hogle Zoo website, free admission there if you're a veteran or you're an active service member. How about this one, Dave? Free dental services for veterans at Treehouse Dental in Highland.
Oh, really? Oh, that's okay. So I thought you were going to come to me with like a free Starbucks.
Oh, we're getting there.
And now you're bringing me real stuff, some heavy duty stuff.
Yeah. So free admission for all or to all national parks for all veterans and active duty.
Okay, if we're being totally honest, veterans should already have that. Like, if you're protecting our nation, you probably should get into the national parks for free.
Veterans pass.
Yeah, that should be free for
forever.
Sure.
How about this? Here's your. I didn't know you're a Starbucks fan, Dave. I'm the Starbucks fan. Free Starbucks 12-ounce hot or iced coffee for veterans, military service members, and military spouses.
Yeah, I'm celebrating for you.
So take your spouse with you. Get yourself probably you might want an iced coffee today because we're supposed to be in the 60s. Free lunch or dinner at Applebee's for veterans and active duty military. I love this. Applebee's does this year after year. What do you eat on the menu at Applebee's?
Oh, I like the half. I usually go with the appetizers. I love their appetizers.
Yeah, they do have.
I load up.
They do.
Like I order several.
Are you a B-dub?
Oh,
B-dubs?
Buffalo Wild Wings? Yeah, B-dubs.
10 free boneless wings and fries at Buffalo Wild Wings for veterans and active duty military.
If they could switch out the fries for tots, because they have delicious tots at B-dubs.
Well,
yeah, I'm in.
If you would have served, you could have asked.
Had I served.
Okay, I also appreciate what Chili's has done year after year after year. They're just these are the go-tos. You know, they always do something for our veterans. Free meal at Chili's for military members.
I love it.
Free entree at Olive Garden.
More food.
Free red, white, and blueberry pancake combo at IHOP.
Now we are talking. The white is whipped cream, by the way.
You just look. If you've served, you just plan this day.
Oh, yeah.
You do breakfast, lunch, and dinner for free.
You've got to lean into that.
And then you swing into your Starbucks location and you take your spouse with you and you get a free coffee in between. A free meal at Golden Corral.
All you can eat. All you can eat.
Is it still? I haven't been there in so long.
If you're getting free food all day, by the time you hit all you can eat at Golden Corral.
Are you there for the dessert bar at Golden Corral?
Oh, no. It's all meat for me.
Maybe you're doing a little salad.
Yeah, that's totally what I do. Golden Corral, you know what I'm looking for is a good hearty salad.
Okay. And I like this a lot. A free oil change at Jiffy Lube.
Okay. So it's not just food. It's food for your car.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's super cool. I love also giving the businesses that do this a shout out as well. To just give our veterans a big thank you by giving them something for free. Everybody likes something free. Well, they earn it. They earned it and they deserve it.
Did you see it all? Do you have to prove it? Do you have to bring the receipts, or is this the owner system?
You have to show your military ID?
Yeah.
Well, look, I just carry your military ID all the time.
There you go.
Right? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't say here one way or the other.
One of the things I do love is a lot of companies will offer a military discount. Hey, and that's not just on Veterans Day.
Yes.
It's for every day.
I love
Hey, an extra 10% off if you're a veteran. I love when these companies do that in honor, because so often I think we take it for granted. We don't realize the danger, and especially recently when we look at all the wars that are happening across the world and families that are being devastated and losing. It's a harsh reality, and it's a reminder of what these veterans put on the line every single day. So thank you.
Yeah. Our producer just told me as well that we will put that list at kslnewsradio.com. So yes, to echo what you said, Dave, thank you to all who served and that all who have sacrificed for our country. You can find that full list at kslnewsradio.com. Don't forget about Inside Sources today from 1 to 3, where they're going to take a look into split ticket